Weather update for you. Get into the newspapers. Interesting conversations that have you front and center in terms of it all.
Everything in life happens for a reason. Disappointment comes.
And then the big conversations as well. Today I want to talk to you about why freedom still feels like a bondage. And yesterday we were speaking about living like it's already done.
Thank you for rain.
About stepping into what has been settled instead of striving for what has already been given. But today let us ask an honest question. If it's already done, why do so many still feel stuck? Why do people who've been given freedom still live like they are bound? The answer is not as complicated as we think, right?
It's a beautiful day.
It's not because freedom isn't real, it's because truth hasn't fully settled in yet. There's a difference between hearing something and knowing it. You can hear that you're forgiven and still feel guilty. You can hear that you're accepted and still feel like you do not belong. You can hear that you're free and still live cautiously, almost afraid to step fully into life. Not because it isn't true, but because it hasn't become your truth just as yet. And that's where the struggle often is. Because until truth becomes personal, other voices will keep competing with it. Voices of your past, voices of your mistakes, voices that remind you of who you used to be. And if you're not grounded in truth, those voices start to sound convincing. This is why the good book, the Bible, speaks about having zeal without knowledge in the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 2. They are passionate, they believe, they are trying, but something is missing. Clarity. Because it is not often or effort that sets you free. It is truth that you understand and accept. So here's a reflection for us this morning as we go about today. Right? What do you know but have not yet believed enough to live from? Your life will always follow your deepest conviction. And until truth becomes something you stand on, not just something you agree with, you will keep living beneath what is already yours. So maybe today is not about trying harder. Maybe today is about settling it within yourself and letting truth become real. Letting it silence every other voice. And when that happens, freedom will no longer feel like an idea. It will become a reality. And that is our message for today. It will take us into the 6 a.m. news, kind courtesy Christabel Trevor. After which we'll get the business news as well, and then we'll return with a bit more for you here on the 3FM Sunrise. I'm Mawuena, Egbeta, the rest of the team on standby for you here on the 3FM Sunrise.
Beautiful day. Don't fuss and fight. Let us unite.
Morning news on 3FM 92.7. We're coming to you live from our studios here at Adesawe Kanda. We're also streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, and all our social media platforms. I am Christabel Success Trevor. Coming up this morning, coalition of civil society organizations in Ghana call for immediate steps to rise the office of the special prosecutor into the constitution while decoupling the office of the Attorney General from the Ministry of Justice.
Ultimately, we would also want to see the decoupling of the Attorney General from the Minister of Justice. When we have this baby we are talking about in the review process and in the recommendations we have made in the NICAP document implemented.
We will tell you more about the CSO's call in the relation to recent legal actions affecting the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP. Also coming up in this bulletin, beginning today, Tuesday, April 21, members of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, in the Medina Adenta Abokobi area will begin an indefinite strike following an attack on a member. Plus, Member of Parliament for Anlo Richard Kwame Sefe cautions government against only providing relief items to victims of the tidal waves, saying residents are tired of such temporary measures.
The people are not ready to receive blankets. They're not ready to receive rice and other handouts from anybody. What they wanted is protect the coastline for them.
We've got all of these and a lot more for you. Please stay with us here. And now the details. The coalition of civil society organizations in Ghana has raised alarm over recent legal actions affecting the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP. The CSOs warned that these acts could significantly undermine the country's anti-corruption efforts. In a press statement issued on April 20, 2026, the group cites moves by the Attorney General at the Supreme Court to challenge aspects of the OSP Act, alongside a High Court ruling that declared the OSP's prosecutorial powers unlawful without the Attorney General's authorization. Mary Awelana Ada is the Executive Director of Transparency International.
Yes, so we have made some very clear recommendations as we have gone along. One is the fact that during the development of the new anti-corruption strategy that will be implemented very soon, one of the pronouncements or the suggestions that came up is the fact that we need to write the OSP into the Constitution. And then that takes away this. Ultimately, the Constitutional Review Commission's recommendations, which we also are not too sure where they are now, because the President promised us January to set up an implementation committee. As we speak today, we don't know the level of work that has gone on. But the Constitutional Review Committee's recommendations to set up an Office of Ethics and Anti-Corruption would also help. And this is going to be written into the Constitution. Then ultimately, we would also want to see the decoupling of the Attorney General from the Minister of Justice. When we have this baby we are talking about in the review process and in the recommendations we have made in the NICAP document implemented.
Mariada is Executive Director of Transparency International. Now, the coalition also announced plans to support the constitutionality of the OSP law in court and urged renewed commitment to creating a fully independent public prosecutor. Beginning today, Tuesday, April 21, members of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, in the Medina Adenta Abokobi area will begin an indefinite strike following an attack on a member. A teacher, Abdullah Mohammed, was beaten by a former student of the same school where he teaches. There's more in this report.
The latest incident involves the assault of Abdullah Mohammed, a teacher at the Presbyterian Junior High School at Otano, near Ajungano. Reports indicate that on Monday, April 13, 2026, while Abdullah was invigilating final year students writing mock examinations, he spotted a former student in one of the classrooms, allegedly attempting to steal from candidates' bags. According to Abdullah, he confronted the boy and asked him to stop and leave the premises, but he refused. Eventually, the teacher succeeded in driving him away. However, shortly after, the boy returned with another individual, and together they attacked the teacher, landing a few heavy blows. Teachers say they no longer feel safe within the community.
I'm not safe in the community again. I've been there for 4 years. After teaching 6 years in Western Region, I've been in Bogosu for 6 years, and this is my 4th year at Bethel Presby. I've never had any encounter with any parent, community member, no. Just that I'm very firm on disciplining the children when they go wayward.
Madina Adenta Nabokobi Nat chairman Christian Yao Edinkra insists the touch one, touch all approach has become necessary to protect the teaching fraternity.
It is becoming so predictable that any time that the teacher suffered any form of pain, harm, assault, we treat it with kid's glove, and it is emboldening the society to be perpetuating same. That is why we thought that we have to hold on our services and to ensure that the right things are done.
Other union members are also calling for stricter punitive measures to deter future attacks on teachers.
That was a report by Stanley Nibleo. Now, security analyst Richard Kumado has charged the government to support the Ghana National Fire Service with appropriate apparatus as the service begins to revive its police unit. In recent times, personnel of the National Fire Service have faced physical attacks from members of the public while carrying out their duties, largely due to the absence of a dedicated fire police unit. In response to this growing concern, the Ghana National Fire Service has reorganized its fire police unit, which originally operated between October 1992 and 1998. The unit is tasked with ensuring discipline within the service and acting as a protective barrier between firefighters and the general public. Chief Fire Officer Mawuena expressed concern over the recent attacks on fire personnel and emphasized the urgent need to revive the fire police unit.
Recently, our firefighters have faced more attacks at emergency grounds. Some have been beaten, harassed, and blocked by criminals. These people use weapons and other tools to stop our work and put lives at risk. This must stop. And I stress this must stop. The unit will have more tasks and more responsibility beyond keeping discipline inside the service. The fire police will now protect firefighters at incident grounds and scenes. You will be the first line of defense against anyone who tries to attack, block, rescue work, or cause harm.
Speaking on Hot Edition on 3FM, Richard Kumado made the case for the service to be retooled to prevent such incidences.
Properties are burning, people are dying. It raises all manner of emotional stress, and people come under pressure. The way we have structured our cities disadvantages the firefighters, and they struggle to get to those locations, which is not caused by them, but probably caused by the very people who are becoming victims of the circumstance. Then, number 4, we do not, as a nation, provide the fire service people with the accurate equipment and the appropriate tools and resources to be able to quench those fires within limited timelines. Then, that also adds to the fury where people misconstrue their delays, and sometimes many of the things that happen and they see it as negligence and they want to attack them. But it's all part of public education. If you look at many of the fire hazards we are using now, they are outmoded and they don't need to be in the street.
Richard Kumado is security analyst. Member of Parliament for Ullo, Richard Kwame Sefe, has said more than 100 communities in the Volta region risk being wiped out by tidal waves if urgent action is not taken to address the situation. This follows renewed tidal wave destruction over the weekend, which washed away the sandbar between the sea and the Volta River. The MP is urging government to prioritize the safety of residents to prevent any possible disaster. He cautioned the government against only providing relief items to victims of the tidal waves, saying residents are tired of such temporary measures.
It is not time that you go to meet the people now and give them blankets, food items, and what have you, hoping that they may live on them and this. For them, they can go hungry and do whatever they can do. But we want to appeal to the government to come to the aid of the people. Our chiefs are also begging. Everybody, You go there now, it's a sorry situation that we should not be toying with. Protect the coastline for them. Even if people thought protection of the coastline is going to be the benefit of only those living around there, we are saying that it has now gone beyond that level, and it's going to take away a lot of communities.
And that's how we end the morning news here on 3FM 92.7. Please check out our website 3news.com. I am Christabel Success Trevor. Business is up next on Sunrise.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the business news on Sunrise. Coming up this morning, bulk oil storage and transportation company warns of 40 million cedis revenue loss amid diesel margin cuts.
Seriously being hit by the reduction in boss margin. Within this month, we are likely to lose close to 40 million Ghana cedis. And 40 million Ghana cedis off our books is serious business.
Plus, Ghana's economy shows remarkable resilience despite facing a significant seasonal decline at the start of 2026. I am Christabel Success Trevor. Bring you the details now. And now the details. The bulk oil storage and transportation boss says it may lose 40 million cedis of its revenue this month following the reduction of the boss margin on diesel. At a visit by the Energy Committee on Monday, management appealed for the margin to be restored after the Middle East tensions are resolved. Christian Yali reports.
The committee have jurisdiction over both petroleum as well as power. So we started with BOSS because they hold our strategic energy security for us. So we decided to visit them.
The tour by the Energy Committee has become necessary following recent global shocks, especially from the fallout of the US-Israel war on Iran. The committee members took time to tour the facilities at the bulk oil storage and transportation company limited. One concern for management has been the reduction in the boss margin, which they believe could go a long way to affect their operations.
We have seriously been hit by the reduction in boss margin. Within this month, we are likely to lose close to 40 million Ghana cedis. And 40 million Ghana cedis off our books is serious business. It means that our operation will adversely be affected. So we are appealing to the powers that be. When the crisis is over, they will restore the boss margin. If we lose the boss margin completely, what it means is that we will not be able to replace the existing pipeline.
Despite these circumstances, the Deputy Managing Director for BOST indicated that there is enough fuel reserve for the country, at least for the next 6 to 8 weeks.
We have 6 depots. All our tanks are full up. They are full up, even though we have sufficient product. We are expecting more vessels to come in. So in terms of petroleum products within this period, up to the next 6 to 8 weeks, we are covered.
Ranking member on the Energy Committee, George Kwame Abuaje, is of the view that if for anything at all, government should consider reducing taxes on petroleum products, especially by scrapping or suspending the 1 cedi fuel levy.
Government should rather reduce its taxes, the government taxes, okay? And let me tell you, it's not only BOST. The other OMCs also, they have reduced their margins, and it's going to affect them. Especially, I have been appealing that the 1 cedi that was added last year on the energy sector levy, the government should suspend that for the meantime.
From the BOST Accra Plains Depot, the committee continued its tour to visit the Sunon Asogli power plant, where I am currently, to also ascertain for themselves operational issues over there, as well as some challenges, if any, that the committee would factor into their recommendations to government as part of shoring up the country's energy mix. The Energy Committee would continue its tour of other power sector agencies in the week and as well as next week. Christian Yale, Sunon Asogli Power Plant, Accra.
And that was a report on BOST warning of 40 million cedis revenue loss amid diesel margin cut. The Ghanaian economy displayed a complex performance at the beginning of 2026, characterized by robust annual growth in consumer spending and manufacturing, even as seasonal trends led to sharp monthly declines. According to the March 2026 Monetary Policy Report from the Bank of Ghana, consumer resilience remained a highlight. The following 3 business report has more.
Domestic VAT collections reached 1.799 billion cedis in January 2026, marking a 7.1% increase compared to the previous year. Similarly, retail sales surged by 16.6% year-on-year to 277.88 million cedis. However, these figures marked a significant month-on-month cooling effect following the December festive period. Retail sales plummeted by 41.1% from December levels, while VAT collections dipped by 13.1%, signaling a typical post-holiday slowdown in household consumption. The manufacturing subsector showed signs of improvement, bolstered by steady tax and pension contributions. Total direct tax collections rose 9% year-on-year to 5.8 billion cedis. Contributions to the SNIT Tier 1 pension scheme grew by 16.8% annually, reaching 551.97 million cedis in January. Despite these year-on-year gains, total direct taxes saw a massive 64.4% monthly drop from December's 16.305 billion cedis, a volatility often tied to quarterly corporate tax cycles. In contrast to the broader recovery, the construction sector showed signs of strain. Cement sales fell by 7.7% year-on-year to roughly 206,799 tons. Overall, the data suggests that while the Ghanaian economy carries positive momentum from 2025, it remains sensitive to seasonal fluctuations and varying performance across key industrial sectors.
The Bank of Ghana has clarified that income earned by Ghanaian digital content creators from global platforms will be treated as service export proceeds under the country's foreign exchange regulations, while moving to address concerns over access to such earnings. There's more in the following 3 business news desk report.
The Bank of Ghana has classified earnings by Ghanaian content creators from international digital platforms as service export proceeds under existing foreign exchange rules. In a statement, the central bank explained that revenues from platforms such as X are considered legitimate foreign inflows and can be received through foreign exchange accounts held with banks in Ghana or directly in Ghana cedi accounts, provided regulatory requirements are met. The clarification follows concerns by some creators over delays and difficulties in accessing their funds. However, the bank says such challenges should not typically occur when transactions are processed in line with the guidelines. It adds that it is engaging relevant institutions to identify the source of the challenges and ensure a quick resolution. The central bank also assured stakeholders of its commitment to maintaining a stable and enabling financial system that supports legitimate cross-border transactions, including digital earnings, now formally recognized as service exports.
Well, let's take a look at how the cedi is faring against major trading currencies and how some of these key commodities are also faring on the global market.
On the interbank foreign exchange market, the dollar is selling at 11 cedis 3 pesos. It recorded no change. The British pound is selling at 14 cedis 85 pesos. It lost 3 pesos. The euro is selling at 12 cedis 93 pesos. It also lost 3 pesos. However, be guided that these figures could be higher at a forex bureau near you. On the global commodities market, Brent crude is trading at $95.42 per barrel. Gold is trading at $4,818.98 per ounce, down by $11.36. Cocoa is trading at $3,395 per ton, up by $115.
Well, that'll be all for business news on Sunrise. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. I am Christabel Success Trevor. Sunrise continues.
Sunrise on 3FM, the best in the morning. The best in the morning is on 92.7. Sunrise on 3FM.
A huge thank you to Christabel Success Treve for the 6 a.m. news as well as the business news for us this morning here on the 3FM Sunrise. We're getting into the rest of the show for you as anticipated. We'll get the weather update quickly. Kind Ketsi, the Ghana Meteorological Agency, who say, amongst many things, that it will be mostly cloudy. It's expected for most part of the country during the early hours of this morning. And mind you, there was rain. Phil, did it rain at your end? It looks like it rained in and around these parts. Did it rain at your end? Yeah, so I didn't experience any rain before waking up, but getting close to the office, I realized it had rained, and there were ponds, little ponds on the road, and so the Ghana Meteorological Agency says it will be mostly cloudy. Mostly cloudy weather is expected for most part of the country during the early hours of the morning amidst misty and foggy conditions over the forest and mountainous regions. However, cases of thunderstorms or rain are anticipated to affect portions of southwestern Ghana as well as the north. Mostly sunny conditions will prevail over the country, with the likelihood of thunderstorms or rain over parts of the coast and the inland areas during the late afternoon into the evening hours. So a bit of rain anticipated a lot later today. If you're yet to step out of the house, perhaps this is a good reminder that you may need an umbrella, and so do well to pick one as you step out into today. That's the weather update for you. We'll get into the papers, but before that, song of inspiration, Kind Ketsi, DJ Phil.
Clap your hands, everyone. Come on. The Bible says that glory of the latter rain shall be
more than the former. If you anticipate the glory of the Lord, let me hear you scream.
Of the hour, kind Ketty DJ Phil. Time for us to get into the newspapers for you this morning. A few of the papers are here. The New Republic leads with Maritime Authority to launch life jacket banks to curb boat accidents. MIF beats targets, asks watchdogs to watch harder. Cash floods local government from 362 million cedis to 5 billion cedis plus allowances for 9,090. Woman Cash aims to unseat Mampong MP. And Ajayi's new Accra studio opens as Cathedral probe stalls.
3FM Sunrise.
Sunrise on 3FM.
The Daily Banner leads with Ghana's democratic credentials under attack, according to Baumia. Also, Old Tafu MP raises red flags over NPRA sole source contract. Baumia engages Kenny Japan. Rising tensions as in Zema residents protest over Adamo's resources operations. Lands Minister urged to intervene. And the Catalyst newspaper, resetting local governance. Mahama pours billions into districts as new performance regime takes hold. Mahama unveils vision for 24-hour markets. Veep engages Ghana diaspora in Spain. And Tamale Hospital Cardio Center project in steady progress. But if you experience a bit of rain, let us know in what area you're in and what the weather was like. It was quite surprisingly, I didn't see any rain at all this morning. We're streaming live on Facebook and handles 3FM927, same handles on Twitter as well. As well as YouTube. And we'll do the reading for you as well. I'll take you online pretty shortly as well, get a sense of what the online portals are saying. But top of the agenda in terms of everything that's been happening is the OSP debate will just not go away. Now, civil society groups say they are headed to the Supreme Court over matters in relation to the prosecutorial powers and the independence, and why the office continues to be of importance, of great significance, is why all of the rumor mongering and the conversations as to whether or not we need the office is one that cannot be allowed to continue. Mariana spoke to my colleague Martin Asiedu Date. She is the Executive Director of Transparency International Ghana, formerly Ghana Integrity Initiative. I'll let you in on what their position is vis-a-vis what has been the position as canvassed by the government, because we've been hearing from the Attorney General who's been explaining for quite some time as to why the OSP rather should be applying to get the needed authorization to proceed with prosecution, right? So let me just take you straight into that conversation Martin had with Mary Ada. Perhaps we'll lay the foundation for a bit more in terms of conversations this morning as the subject of the office of the special prosecutor continues to rage hot. Does it stay? Does it go? Does it go for the fiat? Right? Does it write to the Attorney General's office to ask for permission to prosecute on its behalf and all of that? Here's what civil society says in relation to all of the development from the last few days.
So, Martin, if I may start, I would want to say that over the past 2 decades, one of the things that has been a clarion call and an advocacy point is the fact that we have had a process or a system that didn't inure to the fight against corruption. And so we were all collectively, by consensus, in agreement that there is no other way than to find this alternative that we all came up with, that is the Office of the Special Prosecutor, to prosecute the agenda of anti-corruption in Ghana. Long before the OSP, over 2 decades past, the APRM reports indicated clearly that the people of Ghana believed this, that we needed an office that was separate from the Minister of Justice's office. And we needed that because of issues of during regime accountability, which wasn't done too well, and also the issues of allegiance making the fight against corruption to be affected. And so there is also empirical evidence that we have collected over time that has shown that the citizens of Ghana believe the fight against corruption would be better if we went the route of ensuring that we have a separate body, like happens in other countries, which focuses on this fight. And so it wasn't surprising at all that in 2017 this process started, that culminated in the setting up of the office, which we all agreed, and by consensus, bipartisan consensus, agreed to shaping this. So it is curious for us that anybody would then turn around and go to court. We do not discount the fact that people can go to court, but anybody arises and goes to court to then say that the setup of the office and its powers to prosecute are not consistent with the Constitution, when we have all come to this agreement. And I say again that the Honorable Minister now then made a proposition on how to work around the Article 88 form. And he spoke to the fact that we could have a constitutional instrument or a legislative instrument developed, and that was done, that was signed. And so for us, it is curious for us that when we have this, the court still decides that it is going the route it went. and we believe they didn't act right.
Right.
And we continue to believe the OSP has the right, which was authorized to them through the LI and through their act, to prosecute corruption after they have investigated and come up with evidence that should lead them to do so.
It looks as though we are in uncharted territory now because of this particular issue. But finally, how do you suggest we proceed with this so we can have an agreement where the OSP can still act independent, because the law says clearly he has to work with the Attorney General? But how would the association or your group suggest we move forward so we can still fight corruption and not lose confidence in this fight?
Yes, so we have made some very clear recommendations as we have gone along. One is the fact that during the development of the new anti-corruption strategy that will be implemented very soon, one of the pronouncements or the suggestions that came up is the fact that we need to write the OSP into the Constitution. And then that takes away this. Ultimately, the Constitutional Review Commission's recommendations, which we also are not too sure where they are now, because the President promised us January to set up an implementation committee. As we speak today, we don't know the level of work that has gone on. But the Constitutional Review Committee's recommendations to set up an Office of Ethics and Anti-Corruption would also help. And this is going to be written into the Constitution. Then ultimately, we would also want to see the decoupling of the Attorney General from the Minister of Justice. When we have this baby we are talking about in the review process and in the recommendations we have made in the NICAP document implemented. If we do so, then the OSP has substantive authority to prosecute. Then we would not have some of these diversions taking away the focus of the OSP from doing its work.
Right. Madam Mary Ada, thank you so much for your time this evening. She's the Executive Director.
about the office of the special prosecutor, they do not quite understand why there is an ongoing or a pending suit at the Supreme Court questioning whether or not the office of the special prosecutor can continue to proceed with its work, amongst many other things, and asking questions about the Attorney General as well, because yes, his position may have been that the Constitution ought to be amended, but he had suggested a navigation around it. And so why is that not happening, or why are they not giving credence to that legislative instrument which accompanied all of the work and the efforts put together in the creation of the office of the special prosecutor? I want to say good morning as well to Johnnie Hughes. We trust that all is well.
Charlie, God is alive. You bear a name with my one of my good friends in the Ghana Armed Forces.
Oh.
It's actually WO1, Eric Abankwa.
Eric Abankwa.
Abankom. Take your time. Abankom.
No, let me take the
Abankom.
Abankwam.
Yes.
Eric
WO1.
W.O. Eric Abankwam.
WO1. Take your time, gentlemen. WO1.
No, you have to emphasize on the one.
Yes.
WO1.
Yes.
Eric Abankwam.
Yes.
Good morning
the
to
Ghana
him.
Military Police.
Good morning to him from wherever he's listening to us from.
Mark Ankra of FPR as well. Major Aban. Quite a couple of them. But Charlie, how have you been? You say you didn't hear of the rain.
No, I actually didn't see.
You didn't feel
there wasn't rain from where I came from.
Your area has no rain.
There was no rain at all, and so I was very surprised when I was coming.
Do you live at Bawebulemi?
No, I do not live. I do not live anywhere close to Bawe.
Because you must have been in a hole not to have felt the rain.
No, it didn't rain everywhere. I think it rained in most parts around these parts.
Yeah.
But it didn't rain from where I came from.
Yo, we hear you.
It was when I got to Lands Commission area.
Right.
I was doing the journey.
Okay, towards the Switchback Road.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I saw that, okay, there were ponds and ponds of water. But
even in the estate?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No, along the stretch from Lands Commission all the way to Christ the King.
Yeah, but that's an estate. That's an estate. That's a bougie area.
Yes,
that's
it
the
is.
Ambassador Link.
Ambassadors
have their residence there.
Absolutely.
And you have patches of water.
In fact, there's an embassy there as well.
No, there's not just one. If you're from Lands Commission coming all the way up to Christ the King, you'll find I think there are a couple of them, about 4 or 5, and then you have the National Development Planning Commission.
And some
you say
other...
there are patches of water?
No, there were little ponds.
Ponds?
Yes, ponds. It wasn't...
Charlie,
it was
development is a complex business, I can tell you.
Yeah.
Because even the NDPC's office has,
I know.
Yeah.
Just ponds. I mean, just small ponds which gather when...
Chief, don't make excuses for anybody. Excuses
for
anybody.
I will not... It is not in my place to make an excuse for the National Development Planning Commission.
So
I will not even
attempt.
attempt...
It's their job to fix potholes, but if they put it in a document and they chase the implementation, we're sure it will be fine. Yeah. Auntie Adole Brown, good morning to you. She's of the Ruby Joe Education Center at Amamfrom in... But Mawuena, I've been concerned about the Ghanaianness of our conversations sometimes. We will get to that, but see the daily graphic here as well, maybe belated, but let's quickly take a look at the front pages, shall we? The daily graphic this morning says, government boosts power supply capacity, 2,500 transformers being installed nationwide. That's a story by Mohammed Fugu and Abubakar Al-Hassan Baba. Also, Asante Hene honors President Mahama, 2 former presidents with gold medal. VVU, that's the Valley View University, proposes tuition support for private tertiary students. On the back page, IPMC donates streetlights, ICT labs to support education in rural areas, and ENI Ghana leads partnership to expand healthcare access in the Western region. The Ghanaian Times this morning says court sets aside Judicial Council's dismissal of Judge Ullo. There's a story on page 3. Fire outbreak decline, but damage costs road crash casualties surge, Ghana National Fire Service report, will complete all inherited projects, according to Ahmed Ibrahim, who's a Minister for Local Government and Rural Development. Government invests 50 billion Ghana cedis in road sector in 16 months, according to President John Dramani Mahama. 50 billion Ghana cedis, road sector alone, 16 months. Wow. ECG unveils 3.46 billion Ghana cedis plan to stabilize power supply. Mr. Egbeta is the boss of the ECG. Tidal waves ravage Fuveme in the Volta region. Daily Guide, CSOs criticized over natural resources destruction silence. Intimidation can't break the NPP. Baumiatu government. Oh, Chief, who is intimidating you, sir? Nigerian grabbed for operating brothel in the Ashanti region. Esther Egbuhama. Wontumi gets another chance to file witness statement. And on the back page, we're being told that May Day is coming. May Day for all workers.
Labor. I think that's
International Labor Day.
Somewhere next week.
It should be next week, yeah.
Somewhere next week.
This weekend is it's literally the end of the month of April, and then we shall get into.
So the next weekend will be the month of May.
That's right. That's right. No, in fact, yes. The next next Friday.
Yes.
Friday will be the.
It's a holiday, and
the
so
holiday.
It will transition.
But are we talking about holidays? We don't have holidays. Do we have holidays?
No, I mean for our listeners who are listening.
Yeah.
I mean
the UK Antiadelo, so they call it a bank holiday.
Exactly.
Bank holiday.
And so they will get to revel in catching a bit more in terms of rest, their weekends being longer and all of that. We will not have
But as
that.
for us,
no holiday.
They speak into the microphone, each and every day.
That song, I always come back to it and say it's like he was talking to journalists, Article 1.
Yeah, Article 1.
Like he was talking to journalists because we do not get any days off. And I remember very well during the days of COVID. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Everybody else was home.
And
but I was with another media house then. They found a very interesting way when everybody else was home.
Yeah.
The company will ferry each and every individual
they'll find you to come to work
to the office, and when you close, they'll ferry you back.
So at the time, I think Stephen Enti was still here, and he was literally my partner to and fro work, and sometimes Komla. Kluche as well, so those two were the ones who at the time my vehicle was misbehaving, so I'll tag along with them. And when I was each time I was about to leave home, my wife said, everybody is at home, okay. And you'll be making references to all my friends in the neighborhood, the bankers, the lawyers, blah blah blah, everybody is at home. Where are you going? I'm going to work. At the time, they gave us a big tag to show that that's your pass.
Yeah, press person, and so you could go through
and all of that. And Charlie, it was really a tough time for us. Were we considered that essential service providers?
Yes, we were.
We were given some of the money.
No, allowances were not made available for media persons.
In fact, some other people said that they actually didn't get their monies.
Health professionals, right?
Some of the health professionals
that came up.
We sit with them.
What I remember was being done was that some financial allocations was to be provided to media houses amidst the difficulties at the time. I don't recall my media house then getting some, but I know there was that announcement, and I think there was provision made to some media houses, back then. But it was. Looking back at it, it was some experience.
The concept of busing the folks who were providing essential service also gave me a certain glimmer of hope that if we put our minds to it, we'll be able to do it. I saw the Ghana Police Service at the time volunteer their buses to take people around, other buses that belong to state institutions, like as was done in December was also put out there, so you find nurses and doctors and others who could not, but who could show proof that they were actually on duty, were giving free rides and all of that. I remember one time I got to the Kwame Nkrumah Circle House with Stephen and we were driving, and then the policeman stopped us. So we were wondering, what have we done? And because everything was intact. And then he stopped and said, Mother, I see my 100 Ghana every day, but and Crawford and penny for no Martinez can no more money chicken be no more the brain. Yes, you could be and no see 25 citizens, 75 citizens into Mukanjengu mum. This was a policeman giving us first hand info that Charlie was supposed to receive 100 Ghana cedis every day.
I recall that.
For being here. And then they suddenly decided, Charlie, we should be giving a pack of food instead. And so they went to do their own investigations, found out that.
But where were they going to buy the food? Food vendors and all of that?
But the food vendors were allowed.
No, some were allowed. But you see, because people were not we're not moving to and fro like on a regular.
We're not patronizing. But Kwame Nkrumah Circle was a place where it was basking with a lot of activity. And one thing that COVID taught me was that people will always go to the point where people are congregated. So person A picks their food, and the first place they think about is the Kwame Nkrumah Circle.
Because there will be people there.
It means that we know that there's a problem there. It means that we know that there are a lot of squatters there. It means we know that it is a ticking time bomb. After COVID, what did we do about it? It's a question. I recall so well that during COVID, when we fed some people for 3 weeks, that the temporary lockdown was for 3 weeks, right? And the 3 weeks was not the entire nation. It was in Accra
and Greater
Kumasi, Kaswa, and parts of Tema, right? So
those were the 4 areas.
Yes. So it was not. So Bolga was not closed down. Tamale was not closed down. Name them.
Just these 4 areas.
They were all not closed. Cape Coast was not closed down, etc. Now, after the 3 weeks, when everybody was asked to go out there, how did they call it? Safe distancing and all of that.
Social distancing.
Yes, depending on how, who was talking to you. I realized that during that period when the feeding was not happening, and people in the first week, especially the first week after the 3 weeks, people were still skeptical not to come out. And I found that when you're going home, for example, you descend the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, the Circle Dubai, and you're turning towards Fan Mill, Gihog, TV Africa area, you find the boys, they literally swarm your vehicle, not to attack you, but they were begging you for what to eat. And I said to Stephen N.T. at the time that, you see these boys, we will be able to give them something today, but if consistently they do not find food here, they will walk to the houses. And when they walk to the houses, it may be one old helpless woman who is at home alone with maybe a house help, and they walk in and they can take whatever they like, do whatever they want, and just move out. It's a big problem.
Yeah.
It's a big problem that our people have to look at. And then, interestingly, do you remember that during COVID as well, people were doing a lot of jogging? Did you see that? Did you notice that?
Health became very important wealth.
People were jogging.
Very important
people were
wealth.
Jogging. People were jogging.
I think we saw a lot of resort as well to very natural
ways of keeping healthy.
The food was reduced from a lot of the junk.
Yeah, because you're told that, Charlie, if you eat this and you eat that,
yes, you could trigger. I mean, people were now also very conscious about underlying health conditions.
That's right.
A lot of people actually just moved about not knowing whether or not they had underlying health conditions because COVID exposed that if you had underlying health conditions, it could trigger and you could lose your life pretty easily. And so that got people to look in that direction as well. I was seeing people do a lot of herbal inhalation.
Yes, neem tree
exactly,
inhalations,
and all of that.
Overnight doctors, and they remember that what our ancestors left for us
to
is good.
do that to cleanse the system and all of that has been thrown away.
We've thrown everything away.
Now
Back
that we
to
know
factory
that,
settings.
now that we know that COVID crana is yes, and
but
so
then also, the sports, where people go to have their favorite beverages, chilled beverages, or as King Kweku mentioned, I would say liquid motivation. They were supposed to have been closed during the total lockdown or the partial lockdown, if you will. And interestingly, there were some of the places that you would go, some of the barracks and the rest that you would go that, Charlie, they didn't care. They were doing their things. So, I mean, you enter a place, a police, barracks, for example, a prison's barracks, for example, and everybody was sitting there. I mean, who are you going to arrest? In fact, in the first place, who is coming there to arrest who? Yes, but if you opened yours, within a certain suburb or a vicinity, then you would have problems.
Right.
Then you have problems.
Right. Of the many things I want us to focus on this morning is the 100 buses which were brought in by the government. Is there a reason why we have not seen them on the road? I saw pictures of the ministers doing some inspection or whatever. But if my memory serves me correctly, when the Minister for Government Communications addressed the press as to government interventions to reduce fuel prices and to reduce the burden in terms of how much it costs the ordinary Ghanaian to move in and around the capital and other parts, the rollout of the buses was an important part of it. And yet, after 2 weeks, we don't know if registrations are done. We don't know when it's supposed to be on the road. I would have expected the intervention and the manner in which it was announced will suggest some urgency into it being rolled out. But nothing in that regard at all. And it's like business as usual. Yes, we've got 2 cities off diesel, and so we can take all the time in the world to register the vehicles before we decide as to which routes we should deploy them on and when they hit the road.
I agree with you. I think that the whole essence of the bus margins and some other taxes have been affected by it. The boss is even complaining that they would be losing about 40 million a month, and they want a reversal immediately. Situations improve in the Middle East, etc. The president was very emphatic when he mentioned that the buses that have been brought in should charge lesser fees or lesser fares than what is being charged by the commercial drivers. I reckon that could, create some healthy competition and also help the drivers to come along and also know that, look, it is for all of us and for all of our good. But you're right, Mawuena. Where are the buses?
Yeah, it looks like there's no urgency in terms of
and
that
that's always been my problem with governments over time. You remember in 2019, Mawuena, I had gone to host the Ghana's Most Beautiful finale at the Accra International Conference Center, the Grand Arena. That's what it's called these days, right? And then it was a rainy Sunday evening. I remember so well. I'd gone to MC party for one of our big women here at the time, Millicent Adai, and I came. I had to rush in, so my cousin came to pick me on a motorbike. So in the rain, I'd come, and I was just coming to host the show. This was about 1 hour to the show when I got there. Just when we got to the entrance and we were, maneuvering our way through the thick crowd to get in, I saw a lot of ambulances parked at the State House in the frontage of Parliament. So I was thinking, what are the ambulances doing? Because just 2 days, guess what? Just 2 days ago, somebody at Kaneshi Polyclinic had to be
at the time.
Yes, at the time, to be transferred. They literally had to go and borrow an ambulance from one of their clinics around. I think it was Holy Trinity or Cuckoo Clinic. I don't remember exactly which one, but literally had to go. So what they did was that they did a card for the person, blah blah blah. I don't know how they did it. They as if to say that the person then is on admission, etc. And then they moved this individual in that borrowed, for the want of a better expression, to the place. And I said, if we have all these ambulances here, why should people be struggling? Then we were told that, these ambulances are supposed to be brought in, retrofitted, given trackers, blah, 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 blah. Never mind that later we saw some of them carrying blocks and cement and cassava and planting goats and etc. Because if they had trackers, then we wouldn't have had that kind of situation on our hands. That's one. But I got to know that, and I pestered the Minister for Health for that, because I remember that the Orbis Flying Eye came into the country at the time. I had the privilege to go and MC for them. That's the world's biggest aircraft. They do they come maybe from Italy, they come to Ghana, they are here, you have an eye problem. Interestingly, that you are wrapping your eyes, they have an eye problem. And they conduct real-time eye operations, optical, right on the ground. And I was MC and the minister was there. So as part of my MC, because I've been trying to get answers from him. So as part of my MC, when the minister came to talk, then when he was leaving, I just stood by him and said, Mr. Minister, the ambulances, how far, what's up? So he explained, blah, 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 everything. And then soon thereafter, the ambulances were put at the Independence Square. They were launched, big one. Then somebody called me and said, but we have brought in over 300 ambulances. We won't just go and distribute them without a ceremony. So the lives of the people really was not the focal point. The focal point was that there was a ceremony. We were in 2019. 2020 was an election year, and we were waiting so that in 2020 you do it, it would push up the hype. We are not in 2028. The buses have come. We have seen the pictures and the videos. Yeah. We have seen the ministers go and tour the place. The people need the buses. Put the buses on the road, because I remember when the tour was done, they said that the specifications that they gave the Israelis have all the boxes have been ticked.
In fact, at the time it landed at the port, we were told that. The
camera in there, that every specification that they gave the Israelis have been fulfilled. So why are we keeping the buses?
What's the hold up? Is it registration from the DVLA that is holding a deployment?
If I can, and if you have the money, and people have the money in this country, bring a vehicle from Tema Port, DP, drive from port, straight to a DVLA testing center. If
finish
the car
all
is
of the
fit,
work,
and then DVLA tests it and passes it, and right from there they change from DP to DV, and then maybe it goes to do the test driving, blah blah blah, comes back and the person is okay. They put it in the system, and within a short period you can get it tested. How long have these vehicles been here?
It's been more than 2 to 3 weeks.
And this is government to government. This is government to government. So what is the difficulty? It should not be. If private people can do it, why should it be difficult for government to do business with its own self? We don't need the buses to be grounded, to be there, sitting there, and showing that we have X number of buses in our fleet. No.
100 buses.
At this point, I would have expected that the transport minister would have come to us, or the Metro Mass would have come to us to say that, look, okay, we have 100 buses. This is the distribution per region, or this is the distribution per maybe Southern Belt, Middle Belt, or Northern Belt. We are not taking any to we are not leaving any in the Southern Belt. Now we're taking it to the Middle Belt, Northern Belt, or we are taking out the Middle Belt and doing Southern Belt and Northern Belt. We should be getting a plan. Then you say, okay, so we'll put 3 on the Kaswa, Kandishi, Accra stretch, and then we'll put another 3 on the Circle, Pokwase, and Masaman stretch, and then we'll put another, that kind of distribution.
Traffic-prone areas.
So then you let me know that, okay, if I'm struggling with Trotro, and you see people exchange blows, just trying to find Trotsky, And people also create that artificial, struggle. In that artificial struggle, that's where they get to rob people. So, if I had to go and fight, I'm wearing a 3-piece suit, Mawuena. I'm wearing a cream kaftan. Imagine us fighting over Trotsky in the morning before we come to work.
Every time.
Everything
I've
will
seen
be dirty.
videos. Just this week, I saw videos
Everything will
of
be dirty.
persons stranded by the roadside in search of buses and all of that. And it allows the drivers to fleece passengers and all of that with these short trips things. And the buses have been here, 100 buses. Fantastic. I mean, they've come in very early, right? Get them on the road. What are we waiting for about, we have to do a commissioning, we have to do... People need the buses on the roads. It should be front and center in terms of how you want to ease the pain. The governance, it is to help make life meaningful to the ordinary people.
I honestly think that it should be a matter of urgency. It should be out there. So people can make time to say that, look, I know that the buses will run throughout the day, but if I am there early, I'm getting it. So even if it's 20 pesos or maybe 30 pesos that's taking off the fare, it would give an indication to the other commercial drivers that, Charlie, if we don't take care, and the next strand comes in August, and August is not far off.
Yeah.
If these work and the next one comes, and the next set comes in August, and the next set in November, we will be busy.
In fact, we need to know what the plan is for the entire.
Exactly what I'm saying. That look, at this point, I would have expected that beyond telling us that the buses are going to come, and the buses now have come, you now have to come and give us a plan. That, okay, we have identified, like the police will do before the election, that, these are the flashpoints that we know. And then based on the flashpoints that we know, we are concentrating on these areas, but we are not also losing sight of the fact that these areas are potential flashpoints. So we'll have a distribution, but they will have their own plan, but they won't share the full plan with you, only to explain to you that these are the flashpoints that we know. But in this particular instance, the ministry and the Metromas have not come to tell us that, Charlie, this is our plan. And that's worrying. The buses have to be there, but first we need to know the plan, we need to know the routes, and then we need to know what fares they are charging, the competitive fares they are charging as compared to what is already on the market.
Right.
The president was very emphatic. And so they cannot do anything opposite what the president directed.
Absolutely, because these are 300 buses.
But this is 100.
No, I'm saying that by the end of the year, we'll have 300 buses on the road, headed towards different parts. It cannot be that the conversation was, let's just add 300 buses to the fleet and then that was done. There has to be a plan, a reason as to how things are going to be done. And you've made the points. I'm just seeking to go over it again. That we understand in what areas we are going to deploy the buses. In what fashion we are going. It's not we are just bringing the bus and we are coming to pour it into the system. Can we have a system where when these Metro Mass buses are in, they'll operate, because when they started, I recall very well, I was a lot younger then. You know, at 4 p.m., the bus is moving in this direction at this point in time and all of that. Are we returning to something like that so that people can know that, at exactly 4:30, the Metromass bus gets to Flagstaff House bus stop. At exactly 4:30 p.m. It gets to Flagstaff House bus stop. And I can get on it and calculating the traffic by 5:30 p.m. I'm at, say, Medina.
We would have a problem with that because we have not properly created the bus lanes. That's one. But that would have
that's
been
what I factor in the traffic.
That would have been an ideal situation. I remember when the Ayalolo which is a Ga lingua or a Ga word, which means that we are still going. Ayalulu. It's not Ayalulu, it's Ayalulu. We are still going. I remember that they started off on a pilot basis. They even had cards that you can load up, right? If you're a regular commuter on that stretch, you load your card and then you can just swipe or tap like it's done elsewhere in advanced countries. You get there, you tap, and then you can enter the bus, and then you want to return, you tap. And it was so convenient for people who lived around the Pokwase and Masamang area. I remember, some of the places that they did. Well, we did so well, we worked so hard to collapse it. Now, it's obvious that we are not going to get that kind of service with these new buses that we have. But the ultimate thing and the principal thing is that it must be brought onto the roads now. It must be brought onto the roads now. The purpose for which they were acquired must be felt by the people. The people must start feeling the whole point that, look, government has bought buses with my money, or with some loan that was contracted in my name, or with some grant that was given in my name, and I must reap the full benefits of that bus service. Otherwise, it's the problem. Look, and we all pretend, but most of our trotros are actually not roadworthy, and they are not supposed to be on the roads, and they are not supposed to be trotros. Mawuena, I dare to say, right, that you and I, if we are in a three-piece suit like you are this morning, you will not.
You are mentioning this.
No, but it is true. A charcoal grey three-piece suit with a white shirt, very pristine. You will not get onto a certain trotro that is leaking, that has rusty metal, rusty seats and all of that. You would never get onto it. I have sat in trotros where the roof was literally leaking, and I could see the floor as the driver moved. The vehicle, was in motion. You could see the floor, the bare floor, right there, the street. And we have many of those out there. There are people who sit in Troskis, they take an hour's journey or maybe an hour and a half, and by the time they disembark, they either have some waist pain or some back pain or some knee pain because they've been knocking their knees each time the vehicle hits a pothole against a certain seats that's in front of them.
I'll not let you go too far. Was it Saturday or Friday in and around East Legon? And was sharing a story with me as to a trotro bus, a sprinter bus.
Right.
The bus was in motion, and then the back tire just came out. There's so for every tire, it's held by a metal or something.
That's right, in the hub and all of that.
It just came out. One side just came out whilst there were passengers in the vehicle.
Yeah.
And the bus was parked there as at Saturday morning, which when you're coming from... because I mostly drive, mostly I'm in a vehicle which is moving. I do not know, but around the Al Rayyan school area.
That's the Roman Ridge area.
Inside the East Legon.
Okay, East Legon. Al Rayyan, not Roman Ridge. Yeah, East Legon.
So on that stretch, I'm sure.
Okay, towards the roundabout.
Where you're going to use a tunnel.
That's right.
The bus was parked there. And for a number of people who are listening to us who may have used that stretch, they would have seen the bus.
They left it there?
Yes.
Abandoned?
It was left there, I'm sure, for the mechanics to come and ferry it away and go and do a few things here and there. That bus got road certification for this year.
How?
Roadworthiness.
How?
It got roadworthiness certificate for this year.
How?
And was operating.
How?
And yet, at some point in time, we had officials of the DVLA stationed on the road and were checking for... Nobody's saying don't do that.
Road Safety Authority and all of that. Yeah.
Nobody's saying don't do that. In fact, DVLA officials proper. And for anything you did not have, the fine was it 250 cedis?
On the spot.
On the spot. You are in every right...
To do that. We salute them. But...
You don't do that to private vehicle owners. And then you leave death traps continue to be on our
Mawuena,
road and give them roadworthy certificates every year.
I said, I have had occasion where I was driving a DV vehicle. In front of me or ahead of me were 4 other vehicles, 2 privately owned, and of course all were privately owned, but 2 private vehicles and 2 commercial vehicles. Now, one of the commercial vehicles was this, what do they call it, LT or something like that. One of those, it looks like a Benz Bars, mini Benz Bars, LT, is usually brought in as a cargo, van, and then later they'll retrofit it, cut portions of it, fix glasses, etc. Now, this vehicle lacked alliance. You look at it and the vehicle is tilted to one side. Ekpafa. Johnnie, it is it is dancing as on to. And then the exhaust was giving dark vibes. Let me put it that way, or dark fumes. Let me put it that way. And so I was behind this vehicle and I was so irritated. And then there was a police checkpoint. This was around what? Is it Dakuman Junction? Yeah. So first vehicle goes through, second vehicle goes through. Then this Trotsky is made to pass, and my DV vehicle is stopped. So when I stopped, I parked. And then the gentleman said, "Master, good morning. Let me see your logbook, blah, 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 blah." So he went everything. Talking, license, blah, 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 blah. I gave him everything. I said, "Come." I said, "What is your name, sir?" He said, "Why am I asking?" I said, you see this dash cam?" And Tidal, "Good morning." I said, "Thank you for the dash cam." So you see this dash cam? It has recorded that you saw a vehicle that all of us, even without expertise, can say that this vehicle is not fit for purpose on the road. You are not interested because it has a number plate. You are interested in a DV vehicle because no coffee will come from there, or what?
Let me mention that we've been trying to get the Transport Ministry as well as the Metro Mass Transit Limited, because the bus will be within their domain and they will be the operators of the buses, not the van, of the buses. The Deputy MD's numbers are currently out of reach, but we're working the phone lines to get a bit more, as well as the Transport Ministry, to help us appreciate why 3 weeks down the line there has been no word whatsoever as to when these buses will be on the road.
They have no idea?
No, I'm not saying they have no idea. I'm just saying
I would have been gobsmacked.
We're yet to get word as to why they are not on the road, and perhaps they can provide an explanation as to why after 3 weeks. But I think in the vein of having communications or talking about transport and means of mobility within the capital, there's another subject area which falls squarely within the transport domain, which perhaps I think needs a bit of attention. The work and pay situation with drivers and vehicle owners. I think it's been known for quite a while that it's an area where if you're a driver and you're looking for a means to own or to work, I mean, as a means of employment, you can get someone who's bought a bus or has bought a vehicle. Yeah. And now companies, I understand companies are into it as well.
A lot of the banks are as well.
Oh,
yeah.
A lot of the banks are into it as
houses,
well. Finance houses.
That, yeah.
And so they bring in a number of vehicles and then they give them out to workers under work and pay conditions. Some of the terms from which, and I've spoken to a number of ride-hailing drivers, some of whom are doing the work and pay. It's the terms of the agreement raise a lot of questions.
It's suicidal.
To be very
honest.
To be very honest.
If you do the calculus properly, you would then come to understand why somebody would pick people from, say, Carnation all the way to Sefi, right? Whether we also are Contombra or wherever it is, and want to drive back that same day, which doesn't make sense. Because if an STC bus lives here, right, leaves this place, Accra, and goes to Sefi, that driver is made to rest. And then another driver will take over that trip. That driver rests until the next morning, then he takes another trip down. In the situation of the pay as you go, as I like to call them, not work and pay, it's pay as you go, they don't have that kind of rest. That's where the inducements come in. So they are drinking all manner of things, they are smoking all manner of things, they are sniffing all manner of things, just to keep them agile, awake. So they are on the road, their eyes are opened, they are there, but half of the senses, the neurologists will tell you, are gone. And that is what explains some of the unthinkable overspeeding that happens on the road. Boss, we are humans. If you are tired, you are tired. There's very little you can do about it. If you are tired, you are tired. But the person who has brought in the vehicle, let's say it goes to buy the vehicle at, say, 190,000 or 250,000 Ghana cedis. He wants to recoup the money in like a year, in like 2 years. Where would the driver get that kind of money to give to you?
If it were, you see, and if it were about just recouping, and I mean, I did a little economics whilst not, I wasn't an economics student,
Right.
but I know that when you purchase something via high purchase,
Right.
the price is higher.
That's right.
As compared
because
to if you bought it.
You're giving patients to pay.
Exactly. If you bought it off.
Yeah.
But under higher purchase, you don't buy the item for twice its price.
That's right.
Or 3 times
That's
its
right.
price.
It's slightly inched up. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, finding out based on conversations with a number of these drivers that by the time you're done paying, sometimes you pay 2 times the value of the vehicle.
No, I was even coming to a point. That's correct. But you're also coming to the point where the work and pay situation puts a huge burden on the driver. Now, at any point, let's say within the 2 years,
you've default
if you
payment.
default, it robs off all the work that you have done, and you cannot. I mean, I don't know who sets those terms, but it's draconian. It's unfair. Look, there are people who have gone to take vehicles for work and pay because perhaps maybe their salaries are not enough.
Yeah.
So they want to do some extra job. I'm not against extra job. I do extra jobs as well. So I'm not against anybody who does any of that. Because your salary alone cannot take care of you.
It will not take care of you.
It will actually kill you.
Yeah.
It will kill you. So that's why God has given you talents, and you must use that talent. That's one. But so this person has a talent of driving. Says, oh, I can do work and pay. I close at maybe 5, and then I can do maybe 3-4 hours, maybe 5 hours after my shift, and then I can go and park the vehicle. So brings the vehicle, and I know people who actually work in offices who do this work and pay business. They are supposed to report to work at 8 or maybe 9. So they start off at maybe 3:30 a.m. They are doing their Uber, Bolt, Yango, whatever it is. They wake up early, they set up the app, and they start picking people to work, and from work to people, from work to people, from work. When it hits by 6:30, they know it's time for me to start getting closer to work. So they set their destination
towards the office.
And then they start picking people. They get to the office and park the vehicle. At lunchtime, they set the destination towards where they probably might be going to have lunch or buy their lunch. They go, they drop people.
Then they set it back.
So
to the
they
office.
order their food. While they wait for their food, they drop people within the vicinity, who are coming to pick up their food, drop, blah, 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 blah. Then they pick up their food and come back to the office. in the evening when they close, or when they're about to close, then they set the destination towards their home or wherever it is that they want to, and then they do a few rounds before they come. Now, if such a person is being innovative in this way to try to make ends meet in an economy that was run down, which is now picking up, how do you as a car owner then put a lot of stress on a person?
500. Thankfully, we've been joined by one Ima, who is a driver doing work and pay, to help us appreciate, and he actually called in to want to share his experience. Ima, we appreciate you joining us this morning, and I trust that all is well. Let's start. Great. Let's start off with the business that you're in. How long have you been a driver and have been under this work and pay conditions?
For the work and pay condition is 1 year, 9 months now.
1 year, 9 months now.
Yes.
So they reset it from 2 years.
You were saying something.
So they reset it from 2 years to 1 year, 9 months now.
Okay.
Which means that the time, the duration that he would have worked to pay has now been reduced further by 3 months.
Right. Ima, in the 1 year, 9 months, how much longer do you have to work before the vehicle becomes yours?
4 years.
You have 4 more years.
I have 2 years, 3 months now.
Right. Ima, help us appreciate what vehicle you are using to do the operation, so that
Suzuki Expresso.
Oh, so it's the Suzuki Expresso. I think I know that. Which ride-hailing service are you mostly on?
This Uber.
You're with Uber. And
Uber.
How has it been like when you entered the contract for the vehicle and the 4 years duration? How much are you supposed to pay by the end of the 4 years?
We are paying 312,000.
By the time you're done with your work and pay, you would have paid 312,000 cedis.
Yes, please.
For which vehicle?
Suzuki Expresso.
That's a small vehicle. So how much does that vehicle cost on the market? I mean, look. Are you kidding me? This is slavery. It's modern day slavery. So now I want to understand. Within this period, while you are paying all these monies to the owner of the vehicle, do you get some of the money for your pocket or for yourself?
Oh, Mr. Johnnie, that is where the problem comes.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine I'm paying 250 cities a day.
Right.
And at the same time, I'm paying a service charge.
Mm-hmm.
Where is the charge?
Right.
So imagine, let's say I work for today, I get 1,000 Ghana cedis.
Mm-hmm.
I have to pay 265 cedis to my company.
Right.
Then I have to pay Uber charges like 250 there.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have to fill the car with fuel, let's say 300 cedis.
Right.
So just look at the money that will left for me.
So 250 plus 300, that's 550.
And 265.
265 for service charge as well. That's
no for the car owner. Then let's say 250 for the Uber charges.
So every day you make sales of 250 cedis.
No, it depends.
265.
265.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do the calculus. So 265 for the car owner, right?
Yes.
And then you pay you buy for like say 300 cedis, right?
Yes.
And then you pay the service charge of how much? What's the percentage?
It's 30%.
30%. So that's another 300 cedis. So that's 865 cedis. Out of 1,000 cedis. Mawuena.
So how are you?
135 cedis for all the stress.
How do you survive? How do you cope?
That's why we are complaining every blessed day that These people, they are killing us. Even though we are not ungrateful people, we are happy that they give us a job to do.
Right.
But at least, if they will not do anything about the money we are paying to the company, they should do something about Uber charges.
So
how can we be paying 250 for 300 cities? The more you work, the more you pay Uber charges.
Well, that's how taxation works. So we those who have first student type people, we have been paying this for a long time.
Yeah, Mr. Johnny, but look at this, my car. 312,000. How?
Now, do you work, Ima? Do you work throughout the week, like Monday to Sunday?
24/7. I don't go to church campus.
Hey.
So we work from Monday to Saturday.
Okay.
Then Sunday is for your resting day, but Sunday is for you. If you like, you can work. If you like.
And that, as for that, nobody takes what do you call it? Anything from you.
Yeah, but that one day you pay Uber charges.
Okay.
But when you work, the money goes to you because you don't have to pay.
Except
the
Uber
money
charges.
goes to you.
But Ima, tell me, so who does the servicing of the vehicle for you? Do you do it yourself, or does the company do it for you?
The company do it. But one thing about it is that we have there are petty things that the company is taking from us.
Okay.
Let's say the Uber sticker like this on the car. It's like we are doing advert for Uber. So Uber pay for it.
Right.
But that money goes to the company. And the insurance for the car is comprehensive.
Right.
But when something happens, the driver doesn't get anything. Let's assume that when something happens, and they will repair the car for you. When they repair the car for you, they will use the same money to bail you the driver again. So if I'm paying 10 cedis after paying for the car finish, that money will be there for me. I have to work and pay for that money too.
Wait, I don't understand.
So he's saying that the vehicles are insured. They are comprehensively insured. Now, if the vehicle is involved in an accident, the company now takes the vehicle to the insurer to make a claim to repair the vehicle. But that repair, irrespective of the fact that the vehicle is comprehensively insured, that repair and the cost of same is now put on his head, that he has to be paying gradually over time. Ima, is that what you're saying? Hello, Ima?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mr. Johnny.
So you are saying that your vehicle is insured, correct?
Yes.
And it is comprehensive.
Yeah.
So if an accident happens, your company now takes the vehicle and then goes to the insurance to go and make a claim. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then when the claim is made, the vehicle is repaired and given back to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then when the repair is done, the receipt and the charges that the insurance company paid is now given to you to start paying small. Is that correct?
Yes.
But how is that the case when the vehicle is insured and the insurance company takes care of the entire cost in repairing the vehicle?
That's why we don't understand. So, Mr. Johnny, this the serious aspect about the whole business. You see, in case I have an issue with a rider,
right,
and the rider make some comment about me which have to lead to my account.
Right.
When Uber block your account, if you like, you can work for 3 years, 11 months. Let with that 1 month, when they block your account, you lose the car.
Hey.
And it happened to most of our colleagues. And after you lose the car, the money you pay or a share you won't get anything.
That's unfortunate. But do you drivers also get a chance to tell your side of the story? For example, are these vehicles fitted with recorders so that it captures what transpired, so that it's not just the rider's word against yours, which will be taken hook, line, and sinker by the companies that are doing this for you? Do you get a chance like that?
Yes, Mr. John, the thing is, when it comes to Uber doesn't joke with his customers. So whenever a rider makes a comment about you, the driver, Uber therefore block you before he will try to really say he's doing investigation. And I don't know where he's been the investigation for.
But how are you, Ima? How are you, the driver, protected as well? What is your interest in all of this? How are you protected?
So sometimes when it happens like that, because Uber doesn't have office at Ghana here, they have to communicate with them from South Africa or California or something like that. Before then, if there's lucky on your part, they can open the account for you. But if it happens like that they don't open the account for you, automatically you lose the car with that. So
you can work for 3 years.
It says even if it's 1 month,
11 months. And if
when your account is being blocked, you lose the car.
Can you give us a rough estimate as to how many drivers may have suffered something like this? Persons you know who may have suffered.
The people that I know right now, I can tell they are my friends. They are two guys. They are two guys. They lost their car, and even the recently guy that lost his car, for example, they give the car to another driver who is doing the work and pay. And he also had an accident with the car. The last time the guy was complaining bitterly about it. So it's too much. It's too much.
And when it happened, I'm listening to you.
When I came to the premises over there, I told Kuzo that they should do something about it. They should even call us so that we also come and really express what we are going through. We are going through a lot. I may say our own self-crapple is better because some people are even doing 450 a day, and that is the accident.
I know there are people who do 500 cedis a day.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, but when you look at the car self-crapple and they say this car you are paying like this, just imagine yesterday somebody put it on our platform that boxing a week you have to do 4,500. How for 5 years?
Wow.
It's too much. They are killing us slowly, and then that's why the accident rate is too much.
Yeah.
It's too much
because you're stressing. You are trying so hard to meet the target.
Yes. Both like this.
Yes.
Both like this. You have to do 120 trips a day, a week. How?
100. That's the target. 120 trips a week.
120 trips.
If you are not able to do it, what happens?
It's like for my own like this, when you don't meet the target like that, and if they see that the car overworked more than you didn't meet the distance, they will charge you for the mileage.
So you have to now fork out money to pay?
Yeah, they will charge you for mileage, so you have to pay for the mileage.
Wow.
Interesting.
Hey, Charlie. Sorry. How many children do you have, if you don't mind telling us?
I have 4 children.
How are you surviving?
Only God. With God. I don't go lie.
But before this, what were you doing in terms of employment?
You said?
Before this, what were you doing? What work were you doing?
I was driving, we were distributing disposable cups, packs, a whole lot of these plastic items.
And what made you change your mind to come and do this ride-hailing service business?
One thing about me is that I'm a young boy who is coming and I'm trying to establish myself. But that work I'm doing, the pay is not good. I work meat driver at the same time be a mate. A month they'll give me 1,200. Which I see that it's not helping me and my family. That's why I decided to go in for this one.
Right.
And Mr. Johnny, this our job. The day I went to the office today, the cars are it's about 100 something pieces.
Wow.
But Mr. Johnny, if you see the line over there, unemployment rate is high.
A lot of people are lining up to pick it.
If you like, the last time I went to Northern region, my dad was sick. I went to Northern region. I came back because I couldn't pay. They came for my car. And it is in the contract that when you don't pay for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they send an email, they will come for the car. And if God be on my side, is somebody who helped me. If not, like, I'll lose my car. That's why the fact, say, I work from 1 year to 8 months, like I'll lose the car. And I'll not get it again.
Right. I just want to ask a question, Fuima, that when you are unable to pay for, say, 4 days, do they and they come for the car? Is there a process through which you can actually show reason? Because there are chances where you could fall sick as a human being. The body will fail you.
That's right.
And you will not be able to work. Do they make provisions for something happening like that so that you do not lose the car?
No. So what happened is that if in case you are sick and the sickness is severe like that, you have to send the car to the office so that you park it in the office. Then you have to come home. So when you are okay, then you go in for the car.
Right.
But if the car if the car is with you, you pay. You work with that. You don't work with, you will pay.
So you have to always render the car if it's not working, which is understandable because. But then have there also been instances where people are with, let's say, Bolt or maybe Yango, and they decide to turn off their application or the software, and they decide to do their own thing with the vehicle, trying to install other apps and use them. Have there been instances like that?
Yeah, some people do.
Yeah, so people do. Perhaps that's why they ask you to come and park their car if you're not.
But they have everything, the system, everything.
They are trackers on the vehicles,
moving,
right?
And the car is not moving. They see it. Let's say yesterday, like I didn't work. The whole day I didn't move the car, but I'll pay for yesterday.
So usually, let's understand. If the car is seen as not moving, do you get a call from a supervisor of a sort to say that, hey, Efoima, why are you not working? What's wrong? That's what I want to understand, whether or not these companies also consider you as a major stakeholder to check on you to make sure that you are comfortable. Do they do that?
Yes, because the only thing they do is that they say the car have to do the car is an agreement with Uber, so therefore automatically the car have to be on the road. So if you have money to pay the car have to move.
I see.
But if the car is not moving, it is then that you call to finance. Why? For the past 3 days or 5 days now, the car is not moving. So what is happening?
Oh, so it has to take days.
Yeah. But if a day like this, they won't call you. 2 days, they won't call you. 3 days, they won't call you. Maybe let's say going to a week before you get a call. And I myself like this, I never stay in the house for let's say a week before, so I never get a call from them.
If you ever had a brush with the police or the law, somebody takes you to court, do you have access to lawyers who are at your disposal to help you out, or are you left to your own fate?
Honestly speaking, I never have any encounter like this before. But what I know, they might have a lawyer, but we, the drivers, we don't have.
So I'm saying that if you, the driver, for example, is involved in an accident and somebody wants to press civil charges against you and takes you to court, they bring the summons to you. Do you have access to a lawyer, or even if it's made a criminal issue, it goes to court?
Does a company come in
to give you a lawyer?
To be honest, I never heard something like that before, so I may not know what to say about it.
Efoima, thank you very much for speaking to us. We wish you all the best. We'll see what we can, what advocacy we can push regarding this. But
right, Efoima, so thank you. He mentioned that the vehicle was going to cost, was it 321,000?
In Kekanenyo.
Yeah. That's Efoima. Well, on a cursory search as to how much this vehicle, so we're seeing it's ranging between 139,000.
Exactly the point.
To 190,000.
What vehicle car is it?
Suzuki Expresso.
The one that looks like Matches box, no?
Yes, that's
small.
That's small.
And after 2 years, they will now have to work for 2 years so that's like twice the price. Twice.
Yeah. If
and twice the price, the company will be making money. Charlie, no, we have to. How much tax is paid to the country?
through all of that.
Yeah, it's important.
That's what I said, if we open it up.
No, let's open it up.
And which we are doing is the reason why I brought it up. And
this
we
one,
thankfully got
we are
someone.
just taking it out of the container. So what we have done now, let's assume that this whole matter is in a can, a sealed can, and it's in a paper bag. We have just taken it out of the paper bag and put it on the table. Now we are going to bring the tin opener, right? Come and open this one up. Open it and see what is inside proper.
Absolutely. On Facebook, Kojo Fiagbe says today is his birthday. Fiagbe, happy birthday to you. It's one of the regulars on the Facebook stream. I see the lines beeping. I don't know if it's a bit more in terms of drivers wanting to share.
Charlie, people mean the topic.
Because I mean, I'm tempted to say he is lucky because he pays 250 cedis a day. I know. I met a driver who pays 500 cedis a day.
Charlie, and you have to do it.
Yeah.
Hook or crook.
You have to pay 500 cedis a day as service.
Charlie, and then
before your boat charges or your ride-hailing service charges will come in, before your fuel, and then you have to now find what you will use or you take home. Otherwise,
so Atoke Skyman Airbender Lamarck says Ghanaians are brepping. Emil Smith says good morning, and Dramani says good morning. Sir, also Nyamugi wants us to speak to minister or someone from government. Nyamugi, Niga Owafe on Natri.
Bill is here.
Yeah,
he will do sports for us.
My appeal to
our coach will address us on Thursday.
You wait.
Yes.
We'll get to our coach. I want to appeal to those who book the rights. Uber, Yango, Bolt, whatever it is.
Go a bit easy on
you have heard the frustration.
Yeah.
Take your time. Look, I have had a situation where a boat driver, and it was an elderly man, about maybe 50, 56, like matured. He was like some 19-year-old girl talking anyhow to the gentleman. So the man, at some point, he got angry. Apparently, she's been doing it over the past 6-7 minutes. She got angry. They dropped the girl in front of our gate here. The man just parked the car. I was going to buy a banana from Fatih. The man just parked the car. And he says, Madam, Pacho CY, mean to me in Kobium. So then now she started feeling remorseful that I said, no, mean to me in Kobium. Upa report to me. Good thing for him was it was his own vehicle. And this was a man who says, look, he doesn't want to do any work anymore. Charlie, and even then, when we were there in the matter, when the man said he won't go again, he cancelled the trip himself. Come see fire. And this is a 19-year-old girl. 90. Somebody asked the agents, I'm 19, so what? And they do this. So, Charlie, take your time.
Tempest should come down a bit.
Slow down for them. Charlie, if you see us, it's better than armed robbery.
Oh.
It's better than armed robbery. If they don't find this work and you don't give them peace of mind and the support, they'll come to your house. You wait.
It's one thing that I will always say, that I can never understand the Ghanaian as to why they believe some jobs are better off than others, and they want to look down because somebody is in the right here. If the person were not in that vehicle, how would you move
get
to your destination? So respect has to be across board, irrespective.
And I'm very interested in the part where the ride-hailing system must also protect their drivers.
Yeah.
They must because the drivers are the main stakeholders to make the business thrive. Charlie, what time is the briefing?
It's at 1 p.m. on Thursday.
Thursday?
At the Alisa Hotel.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's going to a hotel to do it. The GFA, what happened to the GFA office?
Oh, that place is a small place.
Oh, relax. I'm saying, but what do you need? What do you need?
You can't box the people in. There'll be Jama and all that.
Relax.
Yes, Jamboree.
Relax. When the GFA had their elections, where did they have it?
Their elections? Oh, yes. It was at the north.
No, there was one that they did here in Accra.
Here in Accra?
Yes, the GFA office. There was something major that they did there.
Oh, they've done squad announcements in.
So why can't they do the press conference there? Why are we going to spend money again at Alisa Hotel? Money that we say we don't have.
I have no idea.
You see that Ajana too I've been talking about.
Bilashan will do sports for us now.
To the sports segment here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Bill Ishen. To our first story, Black Stars coach Carlos Queiroz will address the media at a press conference on Thursday at the Alisa Hotel in Accra. The event, scheduled for 1 p.m., will bring together members of the media to interact with the Portuguese trainer following his appointment as Black Stars head coach last week. Queiroz will use the platform to share his vision for the team, outline his technical philosophy, and answer questions from the press ahead of this summer's FIFA World Cup in Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Now, in some other news, Prince Yaosu has stepped down from his role as interim head coach of Asante Kotoko with immediate effect, bringing his short stint at the helm to an end. In a resignation letter addressed to the club's management, Owusu indicated that his decision was made in the best interest of the team. Now, the club's management has since acknowledged his departure, expressing gratitude for his professionalism and contribution during his time in charge. Following the exit, Hamza Obeng, who currently leads the club's youth team, has been appointed to take charge of the senior side on an interim basis. He will oversee the team for the remainder of the season as the club works towards a more permanent solution. Now let's do some more here because former Black Stars defender Samuel Osei-Kuffour has weighed in on Ghana's ongoing debate over dual nationals, urging a more proactive approach in recruiting diaspora talent ahead of future tournaments. In an exclusive interview with 3 Sports, the ex-Black Stars defender admitted that Ghana often finds itself at a disadvantage when competing with European nations for players of Ghanaian descent.
As a Ghanaian parent, you base in Europe, and your son is playing so well, and that your son is Jude Bellingham, both parents from Ghana. Will you allow Jude Bellingham to play for Ghana or England?
I will consider the bigger economic benefit.
Yes, because either we like it or we don't like it, we are second choice.
Yes, that's the truth.
That's what people have to understand.
Yeah.
Either we like it or we don't like it, we are second choice.
And it goes beyond football,
yes.
It goes beyond patriotism.
Okay, so now if Duku, Frimpong, not Jiku, yeah. Doku, Frimpong, and all those players, if we have got them young, all of them will play for Ghana. So that's why I'm using the office in Europe. Let get them young. Let them come here and face the atmosphere. Let them find the good feeling around the team, either it's under 17, under 20, or under 23, including the Black Stars. Let get them young. Yeah. If we get them young, we have opportunity to build our national team.
That was Samuel Osei-Kuffour speaking exclusively to 3 Sports. Moving on, in a bid to unearth a talent for national development, the launch of the 2026 Milo Under-13 Champions League took place on Friday at the headquarters of Nestle Ghana. The following 3 Sports reports has more details.
The Esipon Stadium will be buzzing with excitement from the 20th of April to the 25th as the search for Ghana's next star continues. Nestle Ghana has unveiled the 2026 edition of its Milo U13 Champions League, marking the return of one of the country's most prominent grassroots football tournaments. The launch, held at the company's head office in Accra on Friday, signals the start of a week-long competition that will bring together young footballers from across Ghana. 16 basic schools representing all regions are set to compete for the title. The competition, which resumed in 2025 after a 5-year absence, has undergone several changes, including a redesigned logo and a newly introduced trophy. Speaking at the ceremony, Corporate Communications and Public Affairs Manager at Nestle Ghana, Deborah Kwabla, stated the importance of the Milo U13 Champions League.
The schools that participate in the tournament has a lot to gain. The fact that if you help the young people to prepare properly, you are teaching them values, you are helping them to be active, and then by the time they get into the last 16 and become finalists and win the cup, the school becomes popular, okay? So we know what winning does to people. It boosts your morale, it makes you feel good, it gives you a lot of confidence.
Meanwhile, the category manager for beverages at Nestle Ghana, Myron Otu, expressed his excitement.
You know, we are back refreshed and more revived, and this is at skill and with intent. So like you've witnessed here at the launch, it's going to be an exciting journey, and it goes beyond the tournament on the finals day. So I just urge the Ghanaians to expect something spectacular from the kids, but also an impact that permeates across the regions and the whole country. Pretty much that. I'm super excited. In fact, I cannot wait. I'm just getting, I'm just waiting for mine.
Former Ghana captains Asamoah Gyan and Stephen Appiah both graced the event as ambassadors. Gyan, a beneficiary of grassroots football, stressed the importance of developing and finding talent at a young age.
This is very, very important for Ghana, especially because talking about Milo Champions League, we've got a lot of players who are already playing in the national team. They've discovered a lot of talent, not only in football, different activities, you know. So I think it's a very good thing for Ghana. This initiative started way back, and I'm a product of Milo, you know. So it's something that has been very, very important for us, and we are very, very grateful.
The Milo U13 Champions League promises loads of excitement for young talent across Ghana.
That was a report on Milo's Under-13 Championship. Now, Ghana forward Joseph Pinto has expressed delight after netting on his return to action to help LA the Galaxy to a comeback draw against FC Dallas in the MLS. The 28-year-old spent 6 weeks on the sidelines due to injury, but made huge impact following his returns, creating and scoring in the 2-2 draw. Now, speaking to the club media after the match, Pinto opened up about his journey back from injury and the emotions of making such an impactful return.
Yeah, first of all, I'll give thanks to God. It's been a rough journey for me with injuries, but now I just thank God for me coming back, me having an assist and a goal. It seems really wonderful. We just keep on going because coming here and playing is really tough, and we having this point is really something great. So we keep on and we keep working, Columbus, and we just take something there and we come home and then we finish it there.
That was Joseph Pinto speaking there. Let's now do some women's football because the head coach of Ghana's Under-17 women's team, the Black Maidens, June Anadakwa, has reaffirmed the team's commitment to strict age verification following past sanctions over eligibility breaches. His remarks come after the Confederation of African Football banned Ghana from 2 editions of the Under-17 Women's Africa World Cup African qualifiers over an age fraud incident in 2022. The fallout triggered reforms in player screening within the national team setup. Now speaking after a side's emphatic 6-0 win over Togo, Nana Dakwa stressed the lessons have been learned and safeguards strengthened to prevent a repeat.
In terms of ages, right now, we are always careful about whatever we are doing. Any player that we pick, we send the player to FA to go through everything, go into their system and see that they can play for U17. So, no shaky.
That was June Anadakwa speaking. Now let's head to Europe because Wolves have been mathematically relegated to the Championship following West Ham's 0-0 draw with Crystal Palace in the Premier League. West Ham's victory lifts them to 33 points, moving them further ahead of the drop zone and leaves Wolves on 17 points, 18 adrift of safety. With just 5 matches left, it's not possible for Rob Edwards' side to amass enough points to finish higher than 18. As a result, They returned to the championship after 8 years in the top flight and suffering their first relegation since 2012. Still in England, Arsenal legend Patrick Vieira has identified Antoine Semenyo as one of the Premier League's premier performers since the turn of the year, following the forward's transformative impact at Manchester City. Now, speaking on Sky Sports ahead of City's crucial 2-1 victory over Arsenal, Vieira praised the Ghanaian international for his character and consistent goal-scoring form since his £64 million move from Bournemouth in early January.
I think he's been one of the best players in the Premier League since January. He came into the team with a strong character, personality. He's been scoring goals, and he's been playing all the games so far. So he's been quite really impressive since joining Arsenal.
That was Patrick Vieira on Antoine Semenyo. Now, Real Madrid have won the UEFA Youth League final, effectively the Champions League for under-19 teams, after beating Club Brugge in a penalty shootout after a 1-1 draw on a sun-splashed evening in Switzerland. Real Madrid are only the third team to win multiple titles after Barcelona, who've won 3, and Chelsea, who've won 2. Club Brugge were the first Belgian side to reach the final and the 14th different finalists from the 12 distinct association. They were also the first Belgian club to reach the UEFA competition final since Action 21 Charleroi in the 2024-25 UEFA Futsal Cup. And that brings an end to sport here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Bill Lishen. We'll see you same time tomorrow, more updates from the world of sports. But until then, have a great morning.
The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise on 3FM.
8 here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. This is your best morning show you can find across the capital. And today is the 21st of April 2026. If you're coming to Pram Pram, then you belong to First HR Hotel. That's right. They provide a focus on three things: peace, people, and quality. That's a serene escape with legendary service and world-class comfort. They're not just a hotel, they're a home away from tranquility into another level of tranquility. 050-335-9598. 050-335-9598 or 0303-989737. You should also book the First HR Heights because they don't just provide a room, they provide a reset for all the guests that come through. And the guests tell us they feel an immediate sense of peace the moment they walk in, a rare kind of assurance that lets their tensions just melt away. Wow. If you are looking for a sanctuary where the staff genuinely respects your peace and treats you like family, well, they're their first and only choice. Indeed, the only choice. They're located close to town. It's about 25 minutes drive to Accra Business Center, and you are in town. The First HR Heights. You have to choose that. I know. You want the number to call. Take your time. Here we go. 025 60 60 665. 025 60 60 665. Or 025 60 70 666. 025 60 70 666. And the Social Security National Insurance Trust wishes to remind SNIT pensioners that they are all to undergo an annual pensioner certification in their birth month. Effective April 2026, pensioners who were born in the months of January, February, and March but have not renewed their pensioner certificate will be taking off the pension payroll. And this means that the SNIT will suspend or paying all their monthly stipends and pensions to them until they have renewed their pensioner certificate. All affected pensioners who have not renewed their pensioner certificate are encouraged to do so before the next pension pay date. To make the renewal process simple and convenient, pensioners may use any of the SNIT dedicated channels. And here I'm talking about channels that have been put out specially for you. The SNIT mobile app, that's the facial recognition and verification. SNIT branch biometric verification. SNIT co-location. Bank pensioners with mobility challenges can receive assistance through home visits or make call 0302 611 622. That's 0302 611 622 for further inquiries. Pensioners may call the SNIT Contact Center on 0302 611 622 or visit any of the SNIT branches or use the SNIT app. Easy does it, isn't it? And Electroland has a very special one for you. They call it Electroland Achedie Kesi. Customer loyalty rewards. Electroland Ghana Limited is giving you weekly and monthly big rewards. Big. When you buy Samsung, TCL, Media, or NASCO electronics anywhere in Ghana from any authorized dealer and resale. Just buy your LED smart TVs, your split ACs, your double door fridges, auto grill gas cookers, washing machines, sound towers, microwave blenders, mobile phones, and more from Samsung, TCL, Media, NASCO, and enjoy. How do you do that? Well, it's easy. Mobile phones and all of that. That's right. If you buy these things, then you dial star 928 star 8888 hash. That's star 928 star 8888 hash. star 928 star 8888 hash, or go to register.electrolandraffles.com. That's register.electrolandraffles.com to enter our weekly and monthly draws approved by the NLA Caritas platform. Electroland Ghana Limited, rewarding your patronage the big way. About food crisis in the secondary schools. That's why the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools, CHAS, is baring its teeth. We'll have that conversation in a bit. We'll be asking the question, the empty plates camp, the big questions emerge. The growing crisis of food shortage in SHS. This comes on the back of the Minister for Agric, Mr. Opoku, claiming that indeed, yes, there's a glut. This is the first time you have food in abundance in the Republic of Ghana. But if the food is available, why is the food not on the plates of the children in the schools? In the past, we have had cause to complain about it. Now we're asking questions. And then we'll also be asking the questions in the eyes in the sky. ECG has a new drone development agenda. They want to put the drones out there deployed properly. But can they fix the power faults in Ghana? We'll have that conversation in a bit. You want to stay with us here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7 as we get ready to get into that conversation. And we invite you to join us as well. Please join us with your thoughts and comments on our social media handle as 3FM927, both on Facebook and on X, and on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. We are available. Is your child in school? Do you know somebody who has a child in school? If you do know somebody in school and they've been complaining about food and what you know, we want to hear your side of the story. It's important that we hear your side of the story. We want to hear from you.
Muhwɛ me ye, ɛnyɛ bɛ ye, adwuma a wotie ne kyiwadeɛ ɛne dede.
secondary schools.
The big conversation on 3FM Sunrise. The big conversation on 3FM Sunrise.
Welcome to the big conversation. Empty plates, big questions. Is there a growing crisis of food shortage in the secondary schools? Or is there not? That's the question on our minds this morning. I've been joined in studio by Gapson Kofi Raphael. He's the General Secretary of the National Council of Parent-Teacher Association. And then also joining me on the phone line is my long-lost friend Kofi Asare, who's the Executive Director of the Africa Education Watch. Kofi, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Hi, good morning, Johnnie. Good morning to your cherished audience and fellow panelists.
Great. Gapson, good morning. Gapson, you may have to use the headphone so you can hear Kofi. Thank you. Kofi, let me begin with you. What's happening in the schools?
Well, basic schools are preparing for BECE. Secondary schools are preparing for WASI. Typically, that's what's happening in the schools because we are the season of preparing for examinations, external examinations.
Relative to the looming food crisis in the schools, or if you like, the existing food crisis in the school, what are you able to share? What are your initial thoughts? What have you been finding out?
We just returned from our policy monitoring in February, early March. We are not aware of any food crisis. I had food crisis in the news on Saturday morning. We have about 100 schools that we normally test policies at. So we immediately called about 60 of them, majority in the north. And we were told that there was a debt to be cleared. A debt incurred as a result of buying perishables like salt, like pepper, those things that the schools buy from their local market, which is about 6 or so items out of the 22 or so food items that are required in the schools. And so that's been a debt that government needed to pay. Other than that, it was becoming difficult for schools to continue to pre-finance that expenditure, and that they were owing people, right? So when we got that information, we got in touch with CHAF and then the other COPTs to ascertain the situation. And then on Monday, we were told that government has released about 200 million cedis to take care of the arrears, which dated as far back as I think October, up to end of February. So that's the situation as we speak. So far as we are concerned, there's no crisis. The payment has been done. GNS confirmed this of the check yesterday. So today, according to GNS, they are disbursing to the schools. I had CHAS confirm. I spoke with Father, the CHAS president. And so I don't think it's a crisis. There was a debt situation, and then it's perhaps prolonged. Not perhaps it prolonged, but it has been cleared. It didn't lead to shortages in schools.
Right.
For the other food stock, the majority of food stock, about 70 or 80% of food stock, I think in our schools, when we checked, we have enough stock to last almost the whole academic year. So that's the situation we found. But quickly, Johnnie, it is important for us to appreciate that the challenges that existed in terms of clearing.
We will come to that. I want to give Gapson also an opportunity to tell me what he knows, and then we'll come to what existed prior to this situation. Gapson, good morning, and thank you for your time. Kofi says there's no crisis. What he's aware of is that there was a debt situation. Government has sent some money to try to answer to that debt question, but as far as he knows, there's no food crisis in the school. What do you know?
I fully associate with Kofi. There is no crisis.
there was a challenge with regards to perishables, money to support perishables that will complement the rice, the gari, the wache, and the other things that we know when you put food on the table, there should be an accompaniment.
Right.
The stew, the
pepper,
the soup, the things that make the stew and the soup what is it becomes very extremely necessary to make sure we have a nutritious meal on the table for the child. So I agree perfectly with Kofi that there was no crisis. Yesterday, one of our sister stations, when this issue came up and then the picture being put in the public domain was that there were general food shortages. It was very clear by myself and also collaborated by the child's general secretary that they have enough food supplies in the schools. What they have a challenge with is money to support perishables. And they've used other methods and other means as managers to try to sustain the situation. Where they are getting to, they are heading towards a crisis situation and they think that they are getting towards the danger zone. That is why they are drawing the attention of government and other stakeholders. I also made it clear at that very forum, which I want to re-echo today, that I want to put my credibility on the line. If by close of day yesterday, to today, if that issue is not being resolved by government, then we know that by close of this week, if we have any statement to make, we'll also make a statement.
So who were the ones screaming about this crisis? Because that was the conversation that took over the meeting. In fact, somebody called me, 2 parents called me and said, they say there's crisis, food crisis, our children are hungry in the schools. So you have to investigate and do something about who started it.
Well, I don't want to talk about who started it. But you know, Ghana, we like ake. Yes, or that's not how they say it. Yes. A rumor. There are some people, I think that the best way they think that they have to get credibility and get prominence to push their triggers and personal egos and other things is to try to do these things. But let me just urge and advise the stakeholders within government that, look, they survive together and they perish together. So some of these things, they should be very careful how they try to pull each other down. Because per my checks, I have seen that it's part of the nuances that we are seeing, which is not helpful to our collective good. For us as parents, our most interesting aspect is that we are preparing our students for BEC, of which my child, my daughter, is writing in Atibu. And
when are they starting?
I think early May.
Early May, okay,
yes,
all right.
So,
good.
And she's somebody that we look up to her to do something so unique. And we look up to her that she has always been burning the midnight candle. She's not the type who believes in any shortcut to life. And I'm just too proud of her.
Okay, thank you.
We are hoping and praying that most of our students, both at the BC and the WASI level, will see that the best way to survive in life is to try to take your destiny into your own hands and make sure that you complement the efforts of your parents and you burn the midnight candle and learn and make sure that you produce the needed results.
Thank you. I'm sure that the children have taken that admonition, and so for you, the organizations and CSOs and whoever should focus on weightier matters and not to create a situation that's on the ground. Kofi, let me come back to you. You were telling me about the situation that pertained before this current situation. What have you to share, sir?
Well, before I talk about the situation, let me indicate that if there is food shortage in our senior high schools, normally what is the first to notice? Because, child, they are very, very conservative. They only come out when it gets to, when push comes to shove. And so for us, when we detect that in a particular school, food is being compromised, we are the first to run to town. And so I was surprised when I heard that, after calling many about 60 schools, it was difficult to reconcile the food shortage news I heard with what was going on the ground. But it appeared it was an issue of debt that had prolonged. It was threatening the capacity of schools to procure perishables and had to immediately be addressed. I don't normally like talking about food, because my organization believes that in the first place, spending 3 billion a year on food for students in senior high school is not spending efficiency. We are now spending get funds money get funds money, which should have been used to build new schools, build new universities, and build new secondary schools. We are now spending 3 billion out of it, in buying food to feed children who were not hungry or poverty-stricken when they were in junior high school. Only Ghana does this, and we still want to emphasize that it doesn't reflect spending efficiency for us to feed both children of the rich and poor to the tune of 3 billion cedis, almost a third of the total debt fund allocation going to feeding consumption when it should be going to capital expenditure in a country where 5,000 schools are under trees. So I want to contextualize my submission. Second, there appear to be what I see some transitional gaps. Okay, so Get Fund ordinarily is a procurement entity. They procure mainly capex, and maybe some large volume goods and services. But it happens that we migrated Free Senior High School into the Get Fund system. Then under the Free Senior High School system, there was space. When they were being run by under GOG funding and ABFE, there was space for non-procurement activities. Like buying things out in the market, like petty cash. You go and buy stuff on the market without a receipt. But in a typical procurement system, that is not allowed. Yeah, so that alignment with the strict procurement mechanisms of Get Fund, was the issue that caused the delay in payment. And that is the information I got yesterday from one of the people in the food supply chain. That's the buffer stock deputy CEO when he was explaining it. And having spoken to Get Fund, I realized that that alignment, is something that must be fixed. We might agree if schools are to engage contractors at the school level to supply them perishables, let's engage. If schools are to use a certificate to buy the stuff in the market as they've been doing all this while, then let's ensure that it is consistent with the public financial management system, and then let's move ahead. Normally, I believe that we should be able to have a win-win, given the dynamics at the school level and also what the public financial management laws is.
Right.
So basically, I think that the problem is solved with dialogue and then consensus, taking into cognizance the dynamics at the school community level and also the PFMCs.
I see. Now let me go back to the earlier question in terms of what pertain. Have we always had this situation?
No, we never had a situation because under the GOG regime, under the GOG-funded, GOG-funded regime, schools were given money to just go to the market and buy without receipts. You understand? It was permissible under the GNS system, if you like, let me put it that way. Like you treated something like petty cash, where the matron will go to the market and then buy pepper, buy salt, buy vegetables without a receipt. And so they will show an honor certificate and then the store's documentation to prove that these items have been received at the school stores. Okay. So as I'm saying, that those are the procedures existing under the GNS Free Senior High School mandate system before Get Fund came on board as the sole financier of Free Senior High School. And so the challenge is how to align the two practices, because Get Fund one is strictly procurement, where the school will have to procure through competitive means supplier to be supplying this, and then so that there's a contract and there are invoices and there are proof of supplies. It's a strict procurement. So it's about marrying the two within the realities, the realities on the ground, and then also in a manner that doesn't contradict the public financial management laws and regulations. So that's why I'm saying that it is possible to find a middle ground, engaging the auditors, engaging the auditors, both internal and external, engaging the Ministry of Education, Free Senior High School, Get Fund, and other stakeholders.
I see. Gabson, getting for me, how do we ensure that we don't get back to a situation like this again?
First of all, thank you again. I think that Kofi was on point, trying to draw attention that there are some gaps and nuances in the system that is creating some impediments. One of the gaps is that, for instance, we've all been seeing at Public Accounts Committee that's when they invite heads of schools and they are not able to account for receipts for monies that have been released. They are not able to retire it properly. So it's one of the major constraints currently that has been inherited.
That's right.
That there should be a way out to be able to resolve it. Because you see, I gave you money for a purpose. Before you request for a new one, you have to retire it and retire it properly. You can't come and tell me that I gave you money for perishables, but you've spent the money, but there are no receipts. Why? Because you went and bought it from the local person in the market. In fact, the truth of the matter is that the people who even do the bojo business in the market, now they understand this game very better.
That's right.
And they are able to put documentations together. If only you engage them properly and give them value for money, audit. They will do a good job for you. We shouldn't look down upon our parents who we claim they didn't go to school, but they have made us who we are today. So that is one of the major impediments. So the way out is two options. Either the heads of schools find a way to retire so this doesn't become an issue that will be a constraint in people trying to say, look, because of this barrier, I'm also constrained releasing money to you because at the end of the day, when they call me to come and account, you will not be there to respond to me. So that is one of the issues. Or we outsource that one to contractors who are prepared to go and buy it from these people, put their documentations on it, and make sure that we have a clean sheet and a clean template, so that as and when it's necessary, we don't go back. Because as we speak, they've paid up to February.
Right.
We are in March and April.
We're in April, actually.
Yeah, April. So now you've not been able to bring new requests for additional spending because even the 7 months have not been released to you. So why don't we put out a clear-cut plan that, look, whatever you spend at the end of every month, 2 weeks immediately after that month, let us see the necessary documentations of it.
Great.
So that it can also advise us going forward how we can also put in a contingency measure to make sure we don't go back to this particular process. How they've been able to make sure that the schools are well stocked with foods to the point that sometimes it's very, very annoying. You hear that some heads of schools in collusion with some bearers and in collusion with matrons are rather even siphoning foods meant for our students.
Siphoning is a nice word. They were stealing the food.
Well, you see, I have to be very diplomatic.
No, but they are stealing.
Well, they have to be very diplomatic. As I have to be very diplomatic.
Stealing, putting them in taxi boots and being intercepted. Based
So
on stealing.
Deliberate theft. Deliberate theft.
Yes.
And these things,
Pilfering.
we just talk about it. People are doing deliberate pilfering, and we just talk about it. They said they set up a committee to investigate. We don't know what has come out of that committee. And when these things happen there, they are ever prepared to flag issues. So we need to look at those who have become an albatross in the system, who are trying to take undue advantage and try to do things that will affect the system. So that is another issue we need. Another aspect we need to do
quickly,
is that
so I can go to
I will
Kofi.
plead with government. You see, when these things happen, it is our students, our walls, and we the parents, we suffer the brunt most. 7 months now, no money for perishables. You ask the heads, they say they were able to manage it. But the truth of the matter is that when you go to the school system, they try to reach out to the PTs and say, look, we don't have money now to do this. Can you loan us something to use it to run?
Have you done that in the past 7 months?
We've been doing it.
No, in the past 7 months.
I said we've been doing it.
No, I'm asking specifically
It's an
for the
annual
past.
ritual. We've been doing it.
Okay.
I just wanted to know that it's part of the norm. Because we are not in the school space.
Even when PTA was not
I'm saying that when the PTAs were not as strong as it is, we were still doing it.
No,
because you see,
there was a period in the country when PTAs were outlawed.
I'm explaining something.
Explain.
That period, the government tried to do everything to make sure that we don't operate.
And I'm saying that during that period,
yes,
did you also
but we're
give
still
money?
contributing money on our WhatsApp platforms to support the schools.
Okay, so you did that even when you were not supposed to be in existence. Okay, all right.
And I'm just telling
that's the clarity I
yes,
wanted.
I just want you to know that, look, for us, as far as our children are in the schools, we cannot leave everything to government. Because you see, excuse my language, the school is not a dumping ground for our children to just go and dump them like a baller and we'll take our eyes off and watch the space. That's why we are here having this discussion. And I'm saying that this is something we've been doing. And for now, within this few years, we've not contributed so much in terms of for both food and perishable. But even the monies that we have, we used to do other things in the school. When we said there's an emerging situation that will affect hunger issues in the school or not bring the lesson, when they talk to us behind the scenes, we try to outsource some of
Do
our
they
funds.
pay back these monies to
That
you?
is sometimes the problem we face with them.
Do they pay back?
Sometimes
First
they
you,
don't.
First you answer and then you
Sometimes
explain.
they don't. They don't. Some heirs are very noble and diplomatic. When it comes back, they say, "Oh, take your money." Some too, when it comes, they will now try to have issues with you. And when you want to talk about it, and you want to talk to your mother body to come in to intervene, they think that you are becoming a nuisance in the school, and they try to fight those parents. So you see, we live in a society that human beings as they are, they don't want the system to police them, but they want those that they work under. They want them to do the things right. But they themselves, as to whether they are also doing things right, is another matter. So these are the realities on the ground that we need to collectively come together and fix it.
Let me bring it, Kofi. So how do we reconcile this situation with the Minister for Agri's pronouncement that this is the very first time, or for the first time, we have food in abundance? If indeed we have food in abundance, why are they not in the schools? Ketsi, government's intervention.
I don't know where the Minister for Agri got that information from. But as I've indicated, the problem is not about the absence of food. It's a liquidity issue. I believe that moving forward, the Ministry of Education gets funds free senior high school. They can agree on something like a credit line of about, let's say, 30-day credit line.
Right.
After 30 days, schools submit the relevant documentation per the agreed procedures. And then they submit them to the Free Senior Secretariat. Free Senior Secretariat will use maybe 2 weeks to do verification because the documentation must be verified so that when it comes to auditing, no one is held responsible at Get Fund or at the Ministry of Education or anywhere. So they do verification, a randomized sample verification of the documents submitted versus the documents existing in the school to confirm that, yes, these items were supplied and used, so. Then in the second 2 weeks, based on the outcome of that verification, Free Senior Secretariat can process and send the documents to Get Fund for payment, so that maximum by 60 days the school gets reimbursed for supplies. The way the PFM works, we've all done supplies. I do supplies, but I don't do supplies with government. I do supplies to private hotels. Normally it's 60, 90-day credit line. So if you have someone supplying you salt or kobe or kontomire, and the person knows that you're going to owe them for 30 days, 40 days, that's fine. It's about the school going through that. And I trust that CHAS, very mindful and concerned about the stability of the academic calendar and the welfare of our students, will not be the ones to delay in submitting once we agree on the procedures and the documentation. So that conversation, I'm sure, has started, and I encourage that the CHAS, COPT, Get Fund, Ministry of Education, and Regional Secretariat should be able to resolve this immediately so that moving forward, everyone knows their key roles they have to play within the timeline. You see, when Get Fund is financing Free Senior High School, okay, the only difference between the past and this particular element is that the issue is never the lack of money. It is not GOG. This is the best one. It is never the lack of money. So whenever there are delayed payments, it means that it's either bureaucracies or non-conformity to guidelines or disagreement about processes. But it is not about the lack of money, because Get Fund is the most reliable. Get Fund is the most reliable source of funds in the public sector. You understand? Yeah. So let's get more clarity on the processes and procedures. And once there's consensus, I think that the school heads will be happy to comply, and so that they don't have liquidity. Yeah.
Kofi, what do you know about the government's announced plan to have food, for example, distribution decentralized, so that it is not at one point and then everybody will have to come and source from there, but the heads or the bases are giving the freedom to source food, and particularly from their locality and what's readily available that will pass the mark of nutrition for the children. What do you know?
That That has always been Edward's recommendation to government. That since Kwame Nkrumah, schools were buying their food until free senior high school started. We still insist that there was no reason to centralize food procurement just because there was free senior high school. Just because schools students stopped paying fees. Okay. Yet there were gaps. There were accountability gaps. There were pilfering issues related, not equal selling and all that. But it doesn't mean that centralizing it also didn't have its own challenges. The conversation we are having is one of the challenges of centralized payment. The other challenge is with centralized procurement. We've had that challenge in the past 4 or 5 years, and you know about it. And so people supplying expired rice, so all this are a function of centralized procurement, because you buy the food stuff and then they pay for long and all that. I want to submit that when this government had in the manifesto to decentralize feeding in senior schools, we're very happy. So we advise the new government that please go ahead and then build capacity in all the schools on procurement management, PFM, in relation to food. And sorry. We advise the government to undertake a capacity gap analysis, a system capacity analysis at the school level, so that it will give the government an idea about the strengths and challenges within the senior high school system when it comes to managing their school procurement, feeding procurement. First. Second recommendation was that on the basis of that, run capacity-based interventions, build accountable systems, digital systems that enables you to track food distribution once they have been procured, that enables you to oversight procurement processes and all that. We advised the government. And then we said that continue running the current system for 1 year. Based on the response you get from the system, then you fully decentralize it. And then by that time, you have stringent accountability measures in place that you are able to monitor compliance with the rules that you have established, and then also monitor procurement and supplies. Unfortunately, the government decided that they are not going to decentralize it. They are going to maintain the status quo that they met. So I have always been in support of Edward's position that schools must be empowered to procure their own food, but central government mechanisms, GES headquarters, Free Senior Secretariat, which we think is not necessary in the first place, GES should be able to put in place stringent mechanisms to monitor how schools procure in line with the PFM, procurement laws, and also how they manage the food stock within the store's management policy, GES. Let me end by saying that as we sit here, schools are procuring uniforms. Schools are procuring uniforms and other things that they use under free senior high school. So it is not the case that schools have zero capacity to procure. If we are deliberate and want to decentralize feeding, we will be mindful that there will be slippages, and so we'll put in place stringent accountability mechanisms with checks and balances and strong carrots and sticks, so that if you are found breaking the law, you know that you will be removed as a headmaster and taken to the school to classroom to teach. You will see more strengthened compliance. But this current approach of continuing to centralize everything, I think it doesn't assure, so far as I'm concerned, checks and balances. Because if Ministry of Education is procuring, I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying they are procuring, but if Ministry of Education is procuring, who's going to exercise operational oversight over the Ministry of Education? Parliament will only come in at the end of a period. At that time, everything something could have gone wrong already. But if the schools are procuring, GES will exercise personal oversight regularly, so that to ensure that there is, alignment or compliance with procedures and rules. So that's a conversation we must have moving into the future. The fact that 1 or 2 schools stole doesn't mean that the schools cannot procure. They can if we hold them to the necessary accountability standards and transparency and give them the capacity that they require to operate.
Gabson, what have you to say about this procurement of food, centralized, decentralized? What does the PT Association think?
We fully support the position of the then candidate President Mahama that they were going to decentralize it. I think the Ghanaian parents were happy about it. It's part of the reasons they voted for the government.
Is that happening now?
It's not the best.
Is it happening?
It's not happening.
It's
only
not
the perishables that goes to them. which is about probably 10-20% of the entire cost.
But the others that are not
others
perishable
are all coming from a centralized system. And I agree perfectly with Kofi that, look, we need to build capacity. And where we think genuinely people don't have capacity to work, let's take them off and bring those who have capacity to deliver the goods. Because at the end of the day, who watches the watchman? Who watches the watchman?
Right.
That is the biggest conversation. Empty place. If feeding issues are in the destiny and the custody of the schools, and we make sure that the schools belong to communities, we don't leave it for only the GES and then probably the heads. Because you see, you work under me. Sometimes I can whip you in line when you know that what I'm even telling you to do is wrong. But if it's a committee that is taxed and it's the committee that is supervising your activity, I have my rep, the PTAs have their rep, the schools, the communities that the schools belong to, the chief of the community and the assembly also have a rep, and we sit down as a committee and we know that they've given the head, you as a headmaster, they've given maybe 10,000 to procure maize, beans and whatever. And you are going to procure within the community space, and there's a price control mechanism for you to buy within these price ranges. And we know that we have maize in Atebobo, we have beans in Amantin, we have rice within the corridor. The whole of Buni is a whole food basket. And you are bringing somebody who is bringing the food from Accra or from a different space. Is it the best? Can you calculate the cost involved, the cost build up involved? But if it's within, it's not going to boost the local-led economy. It's not going to make the people feel the impact of government's intervention directly on their lives. And at the end of the day, you, the head, will not only have your way. You can make recommendations, and we'll all look through. The best person within that when we outsource issues about perishables to him, he can deliver it on time, and he has capacity and resilience to be able to wait for some time, because at the end of the day, we all believe that the destiny of the school, the welfare of the children, and then the community, as far as the school is there as one of the flashpoints to highlight the community's academic performance and also put the community in the public domain. We'll all make sure that we make sure things are done right. You only need to build their capacity, train them, and also make sure that the PTAs, they are representatives in the school of which they are directly. It's because of our children that they bring when they are sending money to the school, they count the number of students.
Right.
Don't they count the number of
they
students?
They count
the students per head. No. Who took the student to the school? It's not with the parents. So why do you take these decisions and you don't add as part of the accountability mechanism? Who are those to make sure that, can we compromise food quality at the expense of my child?
No, you won't.
So that is the bottom line of the discussion.
Have you been able to tell government this?
We've discussed this. We are with government in court. Because government wants to regulate our space. Say, no, you can't do that. As famously Dr. Bawumia said, His Excellency, he said, if I do everything
today, what will I do tomorrow?
If you want to control everything, you want to behave as an octopus. Stranding your tentacles into areas that you have no jurisdiction.
When did you file this suit?
Oh, it's at the Accra High Court.
When did you file?
We filed it around November
last year.
And we are still in court.
What is the nature of this control that the government wants to have over
the government
operations?
is creating an impression that the school-based PTAs are for them. And I don't know where they are even getting that logic from. Because if you read the Pre-Tertiary Education Act, if you read all the laws, PTAs has always been autonomous and independent in nature. So something which is autonomous and independent, how is it under your control? The PTA monies will contribute. Is it dues and levies? Do they belong to government? If you hear fees, it's not Parliament that passes Fees Act. Have you heard Dues and Levies Act before? No, I'm asking you. Have you ever heard Dues and Levies Act before? Oh, Johnny, this one you should talk to it. Why are you also trying to?
I'm not.
No, but talk to it. We're having a frank conversation.
No, I'm here to ask you questions.
So I'm also here to give you rhetorical questions for you to give me. You're also a parent, so I'm also talking to you.
Rhetorical questions don't require answers.
They don't require answers.
Or maybe
it's for the public to do their own judgment. But I've added it to the public domain. So I'm just saying that, you see, public funds are clearly defined by the Constitution of Ghana. And then PTAs are private in nature. But what we do is to support a public cause.
Right.
So when we do these things and we hand over a project to the school, now it becomes a school property. That one we have no control and jurisdiction over it.
Right.
But you see, you cannot try to regulate, we parents, our activities, which are not under your domain and control.
That's a fair point.
The reality of the matter is that it's not that we have issues with government. But we just think that they didn't get it right on this
Okay.
one. What they also discuss with us is not what they are doing.
Okay.
So we have a duty to make sure that they actually do things right. So that at the end of the day, once and for all, we can wash our hands off this business and be able to come to clarity to this. That, look, PTAs are just like old students association, because we gave birth to the old students association.
Right.
You know that, because if we don't give birth to children to make them who they are today, they will also become old student association. And most of these old student associations are also PTA people.
I'm sure your point is fairly made.
Yes,
Kofi, let's wrap.
This is what I also want to add to what Kofi spoke about, the accountability and all those things. So I believe that when we are able to do this and build capacity and make sure procurement issues at the local level is properly done and properly managed and properly handled, I'm not sure that we'll get back to this point that people will submit documentations and when they do some checks, there are issues with it and it's taking about 6-7 months.
Okay.
For this
Kofi, let's wrap up this conversation. I am looking at the next meal on the next plate or in the next pantry bowl, and I'm sure when you're in school you are handler of the ladle as well, that pot, that plate, that scoop will be nutritional and actually beneficial for the education of that child. What will be your closing thought, Kofi?
First, I am also interested in how the child is prepared to adequately not just learn, but also go through assessment as we prepare our students for BC and OASI. Yes, the meals are important. And so it's important that the agencies responsible for ensuring that there is a hot meal available, breakfast, lunch, and supper in our secondary schools, work closely and ensure that our taxes, as appropriated, support same. But as I have said, let's continue to think about it. That there's no country in this world that spends $300 million in buying food for students in senior high schools, both rich and poor, when that country is struggling to provide desks, beds, and furniture and infrastructure for the same schools that they are using this money to buy food for them. Let's continue to think about it, whether it reflects spending efficiency and what we call prioritized spending as we progress. Thank you.
Kofi Asare, Africa Education Watch, we're grateful for your time. He joined us. Gapson, you have the final word on this one. What do you leave us with?
What I want to say is that, first of all, as parents, we thank government that finally it has intervened once again and proving that it's a listening government. But as it is listening, it should listen and listen well and make sure that we don't get back to these kind of discussions and make sure we all learn lessons from it and see how best it can also rope us in the discussion and make sure that we don't sit at the periphery and we hear all kinds of stories and there's all kinds of knee-jerk reactions about it. I also want to add that the Conference of Heads of Senior High Schools, the CHARS, and then the GES, the GET Fund, the Ministry of Education, and then the Free SHS team. Basically, these are the main stakeholders within the government space that try to handle these things. What is more important is that Ghanaians want to see results. They are not interested in who did what and led to what. Whoever has authority over any other person, including even the Ministry of Finance, to make sure that the right things are done within this short period that monies have been released, they should make sure that February and March and then April, we're almost ending April, before it comes, it doesn't come with these same old issues. If you're ahead of a school and you bring your documentation and still have this kind of issues, we should be bold enough to flag that head and then tell the head that, look, you are part of the problems that is making us no progress as a country. And if you don't have capacity to do, there are so many teachers who want to be heads, and some of them are qualified to be heads. If you are a head teacher, people think genuinely you are trying to sabotage the system, we should flag you out. If you are another body within the space and you are trying to be a saboteur of the system and create credibility crisis for government should be bold enough to flag them out. And I'm very, very interested in those who, when food supplies are supplied to schools, their interest is how to build their personal mansions. I'm interested in what government is doing, even though it's a security issues and the police must come in. But we must see the Attorney General and government prosecuting these people. Okay. These stories are not so much in the public domain. When they just come, we just hear, oh, they've been arrested. But what has happened after that?
Because you're also not interested after
We are
the arrests are
interested.
made.
We've been talking about it. The last time we issued the press statement, we insisted that we've seen that has been the whole trend and the whole story. They just arrest people and it ends there. We want when they are arrested, they should prosecute it and there should be updates.
But Kofi Gabson, you have taken government to court over its intention to attempt to
regulate our
to regulate
yes.
you. So take government to court to say that we have seen cases A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, blah, blah, blah. There are people stealing food that's supposed to be given to our children. We have not seen results. We are taking you to court to come and give us specific answers.
I thank you very much. You see, if you try to put your eyes everywhere at the same time, you'll not be able to have concentration to deal. So when we finish this one, that will be the next line of action.
We hear you. Kofi Gabson, thank you very much indeed. He is the General Secretary of the National Association or National Council of PTAs here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
The best in the
What will I do exactly? Take a quick break. When we return from that break, share thoughts with you here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. I've got my guest seated. After this, we'll introduce my guest to you. Then we'll get onto the phone line as well, speak to the Electricity Company of Ghana. We'll work the phone lines to get to Parliament, hear from the Select Committee on Energy and Mines in Parliament. All of that here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. You want to stay with us? This is your urban lifestyle radio station. Presidential Aid Office of the President. Dr. Ramsey Inusa is also Director of Research of the United Party. Gentlemen, good to see you. Good to have you.
Good to see you too.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning,
Johnny.
good morning. Charlie, how are you doing?
We're still biting.
Are you sure? Doc, how's government work these days?
A bit stressful, but I mean, for the good people of Ghana, definitely we are called to serve.
Right.
We have no other option. Just like all other jobs, we all wake up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Dress very early so that we beat the traffic. And so we
Sunrise
are no
on
different
3FM, the
from any
best
other
in the
Ghanaian that
morning.
also wakes up 5 a.m. And so for me as a young person, I think it's a great privilege to work for government, to work for the masses, to speak for the masses, and to disseminate government information. So for me, it's stressful, but not unusual.
Is there a scandal yet?
No scandal yet.
So
there have been attempts to paint a picture as though there are many scandals. The point is that the MPP are in a haste to paint government black so that they can equalize.
Equalize on what?
You see, somebody even posted that it is a scandal not to have a scandal by this time. Because in 2017, 2018, by this time, there was an avalanche of scandals under the MPP. That time, cash for seat has come. A number of them had arrived at the time. But because of the, obvious anti-corruption and accountability measures the government have put in place, I'm talking about the value for money office. We are looking at the commitment authorization and
at the finance ministry.
Exactly. All international travels by any CEO, any agency must get prior approval from the chief of staff. Everything has been done to put government in check so that we do not overstep our boundaries. We do not overspend. We do not live a champagne life on an appetition budget. You understand? So really, government has been responsible in the last few months, and I believe that people of Ghana have appreciated, and they've clearly found a difference between the NDC government and the MPP government. They know that the NDC government is far superior to the MPP government. And I know that by the time the 4 years will elapse, the people of Ghana can heave a sigh of relief and pat themselves at the back that on 7th January 2024, they made a good choice. And that choice is President John Dramani Mahama, who will deliver on the mandate that he has been given.
Dr. Ramsey, United Party.
Yes.
What is your research showing you?
Well, Johnny, let me say good morning to your listeners and to your good self. Indeed, it's been a while.
Yes, indeed.
But we've been hanging on the fence.
We try.
Yes. The UP is still a growing party, and indeed, it's a party for the people and for the future.
In the morning.
Currently, we are still building from the base. Unveiling, very soon we'll be unveiling some of our regional offices, right, and our constituency offices as well. But I can tell you that we are resonating well with the grassroots people, especially with our transformational plan, the great transformational plan that seeks to transform Ghana's economy, right?
You are not happy with what is happening?
Well, it can be better. It can be better, but the current macroeconomic indicators are good, are positive. It's better than before. I must admit that the current macroeconomy under the NDC is better. Under the NDC is better than before.
Are you feeling it in your pocket?
Well, in some ways, yes. I mean, if the dollar is now stable, right, instead of being hovering around 17 cedis per dollar, of course, then it would have an effect on inflation, and definitely you feel it in your pocket. So definitely I'll give them that when it comes to the macroeconomy. So I think that we can do better when it comes to the real sector of the economy, productivity, investment, and also ensuring that we have an enterprise economy as we have espoused in our great transformational plan, and support the private sector to be the engine of growth. So we will continue to put them on their toes as a formidable opposition, so that the people of Ghana get what they deserve and what they also promise them.
Okay. Doc, let me begin this again with you. The ECG intends to deploy drones. This is not the first time to fix power power issues and to have an oversight and eagle-eyed view on it. But this is not the first time we're deploying drones to do any problem solving. Remember drones for Galamsey? Remember that? And it gives me. Why are you laughing? I'm just contextualizing the.
You finish. I'll tell you something.
No. So then, I want to know what your thoughts are on this new drive by the ECG to want to use drones to find. I will find the man in charge of external communications at ECG to speak with, and then we can position that as well.
Yes,
but I want to hear you.
Yes, I think that is a laudable idea. The fact that drones have not been able to serve its purpose
get closer to the maximum
under a previous regime doesn't mean that it will not serve a better purpose under a new regime. You know that the previous administration is actually under investigation at Fort Estate concerning these drones for Galamsey issue.
Right.
I have received several calls and correspondences from reps of Fort Estate to investigate the matter, and we have given them the opportunity to go through it, and I'm sure in due time they will, as a matter of fact, publish it so that you know exactly where it went. In fact, under the previous regime, they brought some medical drones.
That's right, zipline.
When we came, we realized that what the core mandate of that drone was not being used for what it was supposed to do.
What was it being used for?
Normally, they are used for essential things.
That's right.
Blood, emergency medication. For example, if somebody has a heart attack
That's right.
There has to be medication that
in quick time.
That's how.
And you're a doctor, so you understand
exactly
better than I do.
Exactly, you understand. So, I can mention one example of a drug. We call it Altiplace. So when you have a heart attack, it is given to you. Normally, heart attacks are normally caused by, blood clots in any of the blood vessels around the heart. You understand?
Right.
I don't want to go into the details.
That's right.
That's generally what it is. When you are given that medication, in few minutes, it melts the clots.
Okay.
And you are a free man. So when you have a situation where you need a quick transport, you can use a drone for that.
Okay.
But when we came, we realized that they were using drones for supply of textbooks and condoms and other things.
Come on, you can't be serious.
Yes, the health minister.
You cannot be serious.
No, the health minister actually brought it out.
That the drones were being used for
yes, condoms and textbooks and other things that are not necessary, that are not
within that emergency gap.
You understand? So the health minister had to abrogate the condom. They were getting $100,000 per month, take or pay agreement.
Okay, whether you use them, you use the services or not,
take their money. You understand? So we didn't think that under that circumstances.
I'm shocked at what you just said, though.
Yes, it's a fact. If you look at what drones are supposed to be used for, within the framework of what we are expecting to do in Ghana, they were shortchanging Ghana $100,000 a month for transporting textbooks. You understand the point of it? So, and the minister listed all the things that they were using the drones for, including condoms. And you can check online, it's there. You understand? So really, on the face value, it was a good idea. But what it was intended to do, they were not doing. So I'm happy that today, ECG is now going digital. They are now going technological. They are now being sophisticated. I've seen several videos on social media where in other jurisdictions in other countries, companies and state institutions are using drones for such purposes, and I'm happy that it will be used by ECG to do this. I'm hoping that I will have a first-hand experience of what the drones will do. There should be efforts to encourage state institutions to be more sophisticated in addressing our issues. If at the end of the day there's an electrical issue and they can deploy a drone to quickly come and fix it, so that people can get electricity. Why not? It is a laudable idea.
So I'm on the ECG platform now because we're trying to raise Dr. Iku. We're not able to get through to him. But they said the Electricity Company of Ghana has launched the use of unmanned aerial vehicles. These are drones, or what's the internet doing at this point? Okay. And also known as drones in the operations of the company. And this was launched in October 2020, and was done after successfully training ECG engineers on how to pilot, operate, and utilize the drones at the company's training school in Tema. The task of maintaining and inspecting high voltage, so to maintain and inspect high voltage transmission and distribution lines which continually have vegetation grown on different sections can be difficult, dangerous, and costly. As a result, utilities across the world are increasingly looking towards drones as a safe and effective tool to support them in such operations. The deployment of 15 Wingtra UAVs, the first of its kind in the company, will support the company's operations since it's become necessary for the effective monitoring of the company's distribution network. Let me cut it short because Dr. Nini Aiku is joining us on the phone line. He speaks for externally for the ECG. Doc, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Now, we want to understand why the drones. It's important that we do. What are they for? Are they to take us some nice videos and pictures?
Please, let me get a question again.
I'm asking the deployment of the drones. Are they to take us some nice photos and pictures and videos, or what are they for?
Okay, so I'm sure you heard during the press conference that as part of enhancing our patrol system in terms of our lines, we are introducing the use of drones. Yes, to monitor our lines, and this will help us get immediate or instant information about how our lines are performing. If there are issues with our lines, and this will also contribute to our response time when there are outages.
I see. Now, when is this effective?
Come again?
When are we to fully roll this out? Because I just left your website that says that this was introduced earlier in October 2020. Is this a newer version? Is this the same one that were procured back then? Or is there a difference, if you will? Please share.
Okay, so this is part of our Category 3 backbone infrastructure. We're supposed to take off between 12 to 18 months. And its main activity or role is to help improve the identification of defects and hotspots in our medium voltage lines. So we are using these drones for network inspection, patrol our lines, to be able to identify these defects and hotspots so that we can attend to them swiftly.
Of what bigger benefit will this be, for example, in terms of power theft and all the other issues that you suffer beyond the ones that you have already enumerated? Will this go a long way in helping to fix that?
I think that you've rightly answered the question of monitoring and being able to identify certain wrong or...
Hello, Doc.
Sunrise on
Hello, Dr. Aiku.
The best in the morning.
Hello, Dr. Aiku. Well, we'll have to find. So, Doc, there you have some layer of information saying that, well, it will do among other things, but also it was going on to the power theft conversation, which is a very big one. What? How does that sound to you?
I think it's a good relief. You know, we have always been complaining for several years about ECG's inefficiencies when it comes to, you know, revenue mobilization, when it comes to distribution challenges. And so if these drones are going to be deployed in making sure that these issues are solved, I think that we must commend and encourage the leadership of ECG to continue to do more. There are so many things for them to do, and not only them, many other state institutions will have to be, you know, roping in measures like this to solve significant challenges that they face. And I'm happy I'm hoping to know more about what they want to do, because it sounds like a good idea.
Doc is back on the line.
Okay.
Let me bring in Dr. Nini Aiku. So the line went off. I was asking about how this helps in trying to fight power theft, etc. What do you say?
Yes. So I mentioned earlier that the acquisition and introduction of drones is part of our Category 3 backbone infrastructure. And we are supposed to roll this out between 12 to 18 months at the cost of 1.93 billion Ghana cedis. And this acquisition of drones is just one part of our backbone investments that will permanently transform its capacity to deliver reliable power. So as part of this, we have the construction of the 11 kV and 33 kV feeders, conversion of flatted feeders, and then continuation of original system improvement project and injection of transformers at scale. And then we have the introduction of the drones for network inspection to improve the identification of defects and hotspots on our medium voltage lines.
I see.
So apart from patrolling our lines, it's also to ward off theft. I mean, when you see drones flying, what comes to mind is that you are being watched. So yes, theft, check defects, hotspots. At the end of the day, it's for us to deliver reliable power.
Right. And for example, what sanctions will prevail if in the scanning or in the monitoring somebody is caught? What happens? Is it just for show to show that we are technologically advanced, or will there be real-time sanctions?
You know, when it comes to prosecutions, there are government agencies responsible. So when they are arrested, and as I always say or indicate in my conversations, when it comes to collaboration, ECG collaborates with all our security agencies, from fire to police, national security, and all. So whenever these things happen, we hand them over to the police, and then, as you are aware, the law is the law.
Dr. Nini Aikua, thank you very much indeed for your time. He's General Manager for External Communications for the ECG. Doc, I know you have to run your closing thoughts, and then I'll bring Dr. Ramsey to have the rest of the time.
I think that we'll be waiting for the full operations to be, done for us to see exactly how far they can go with it. But I want to commend the leadership for thinking outside the box and, looking forward to ramp up their revenue mobilization and also reduce distribution inefficiencies.
Great.
With regards to this. Yeah.
Dr. Samia is presidential aide at the office of the president. We're grateful that you joined us. He has to run because the presidency is calling. Dr. Ramsey, now ECG, drones, and matters are rising. What say ye?
Yeah, definitely, Johnny. Once upon a time in the tech field, I quite understand and acknowledge this technological intervention that ECG wants to bring into their operations to enhance efficiency and mitigate the risks discussed this morning. I think that ECG has been doing well so far, and let me use this platform to comment the leadership of ECG from the top to the bottom, and they should continue the good work to sustain our power across the length and breadth of this country.
Right.
Yes, drones and tackling these menace of theft, and indeed also to detect faults, is quite advanced, and China uses the same methodology.
Right.
If you look at the high mountain regions in China, for example, areas where these technicians find it difficult to reach, or maybe due to the wind, the power, or the speed of winds and all that, and affecting the way they are able to mitigate the risk of maybe faults on the line. They use drones, even de-icing. You know, sometimes in winter, these power lines have ice all over it, and it affects it. So they use drones to clear it. So I think that
if you try, you will die.
If you try, you die, exactly. So I think that, yes, and also ensuring that they save lives and protect the lives of their staff. I think that it is a well thought through intervention, and we need to commend them and support them. Just because a previous administration brought about drones to fight Galamsey, and it was a loot and share agenda, and today the batteries of the drones cannot even be found, or even the remote that controls the drone cannot even be found. Doesn't mean that the idea of using drones to enhance operational efficiency and also to mitigate operational hazards is not a good one. I think that we should give them the benefit of the doubt to see how best they will be able to implement this intervention and be able to mitigate the issues that we are discussing. So I stand for it. I think that it is rational, and I believe that technological innovation in enhancing operational efficiency and various public policies should be the way forward. And so if ECG is leading the charge, we need to support them. I would have wished, Johnny, that the drones would be like manufactured in Ghana through maybe a project by the government, supported through the Ministry of Education, together with one tertiary education, maybe a KNUST. You know what I mean? Instead of maybe procuring them from overseas. So let's look at also that aspect going forward, because we need to build Ghanaian
capacity.
Yes, and innovations and solutions to tackle Ghanaian contemporary issues.
Great. Let's take a break. When we return from this break, I'm sure that we can have another conversation with Dr. Ramsey, who is in the studio here with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. To the top of the hour 10 here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Johnnie Hughes. My guest in studio is Dr. Ramsey, and he is the Director of Research at the United Party. Doc, thank you very much indeed for staying with us. Let's go to the market. I'm sure recently you've been hearing the market women, some in Bono, some in the Ashanti region, screaming out their lungs and calling out to government and blaming the government and saying that, look, we have our wares here, people are not buying them, perishable goods, plantain, tomatoes, onions, etc., because the people have no money in their pocket. Have you been to the market recently?
Well, I have been to the market, but not for these items.
And what did you see? Did you witness the things that are being talked about? Is that a reality on the ground? You're a research man.
Yes, I did not witness that, to be honest, but also my answer is also not to dispute the sentiments coming from these market women as well. Johnny, I think that there are some fundamental issues here within our market space, and anybody that is well endowed with the erudition of how our markets operate would appreciate what I'm going to say. For years, Ghana's markets have been dominated by an oligarch. Yes.
It's an oligarchy.
Yeah. And they are in the form of market queens.
Okay.
Right. And they determine the cost of food, but in the market. You have market queen for tomatoes, for pepper, for ginger, for onions. Everything sold in the market. You have a queen for it. And I think that the time has come, because it has become, for want of a better word, a syndicate for profiteering and some form of sabotage over the years. And the time has come for us to regulate that sector very well. And that is why, if you look at the great transformation